Call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Dear Father, we thank you for everyone gathered here now. Thank you that you know each of us by name and have caused us to walk with you. We say that we are dependent on you and our trust is in you completely. As we surrender ourselves in adoration, we ask that you would come by your Holy Spirit and inspire our hearts today. Come fill our lives with your love. Fill our conversations with your grace and truth. Fill this meeting with your presence. We ask this for your glory and praise. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Dan Doyle.
Here.
Councilmember Natalie Lopez.
Present.
Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Sherry Guidry.
Present.
Councilmember Dustin Swear.
Here.
Thank you. Our first agenda item is public comment. Please lower your cell phones, put them on vibrate. Public comment is not a debate. It's for you to comment and no back and forth, and you have 3 minutes. We have one comment card, Mr. Michael Bell, speaking on agenda item 9B. Mr. Bell?
Good afternoon.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me here. I want to thank Ms. Guidry for bringing up the issue for our kids in the West End Park. And Mayor, one thing I want people to know, the West End City Park is a vibrant, it's a major activity like City Park, and it should be treated equal. You know, I'm sure you know, we lost our swimming pool. It was something that's very valuable for our kids. You have more young black kids that lose their life because they don't know how to swim. That was a hurting thing, the way it happened, but that's okay, that's in the past. So we seriously need to work on bringing activities. We have a tennis court that's grass is growing. They have lights, but it needs to be redone. I ran into a young lady and her child, 5 years old. They were playing tennis, and they brought that up to me, and it makes a lot of sense because each time I come here, I don't come as a citizen of the West End or the North End. I come as an Iberian because I care about my city, and I love here because that's where I chose to live. But we have to bring that park up to par that everybody could come and say, hey, we have two major parks in our city. The city is growing and expanding, and we need to do something to bring it up. We have, well, the pool is gone. We can put something there, a volleyball court. Kids like to play volleyball, things like that. Remember, we have to have activities to keep our kids and make those kids productive citizens. All you have to do is look at the news and see what's happening. Kids are running rampant, lack of parenting. So it is our responsibility to do these things, to come out and speak about these things that is necessary. And remember, the West End is diverse. And I always used to say where the past council and the past board would talk about black, the West End is diverse, Asian, white, black, white. It's a diverse community. You know, you have a little bit of everything. It's a melting pot. And it's one of the largest area population in the city of New Iberia. So we need seriously to get our act together, and I hope and pray that we can make better decisions than we have been making in the past. For a quick example, we built that basketball court, that basketball arena in the West End. I think it was 80,000, 89,000. But we have nothing in the West End for our elderly people, not even a building. And keep in mind, we are talking about people, old people, that can't get to City Park. We don't have a transit system where they can ride. So that's what we need. We need to think about put in a building for our elderly people. We're not talking about $1 million building, something that can go and knit and sit and talk, where the young can communicate to the old and vice versa. And I hope and pray that we can get it going. And please, let's think before we make decisions that's going to hurt us in the past, because the pool, it'll cost over $1 million or $2 million to even think about building something like that, and we covered it up in a matter of no time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. That concludes our public comment. We'll move on to agenda item number 2. Madam Clerk?
Acceptance of the minutes of the June 20th, 2017 meeting as published on June 29th, 2017.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Broussard, second, Councilmember Lewis. Great. We have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, motion carries. We move on to item number 3.
Persons to address the council, Kathy Indes and Paul Shakesnyder for the development of George Rodriguez Park, Phase 1.
Great.
Hello, thank you for having us. My name is Paul Scheck-Snyder. I am part of a small committee creating the George Rodriguez Park. It will be a pocket park, and it is located between the Shadows and the Bayou Teche Museum. In fact, right on the corner of the Bayou, by the Bayou Teche Museum. It's the location where the old Masonic Lodge burned, that vacant lot. The reason why we want this park is because George Rodriguez was it's to celebrate his life, celebrate his long career as a gifted artist, community leader, and an arts advocate. George, was a wonderful artist who detailed and painted the landscape of the Cajuns, the history of the Cajuns, as well as the Blue Dog, what he's known for. I want to read a quote. It says, "Dad was not only a painter, but a true community leader in his native Louisiana," says Jacques Rodriguez, son of the artist. He always said that if he wasn't from New Iberia, that he probably would have never painted in the first place. My family and I are grateful for everyone involved in this Memorial Park project. So we envision a small pocket park to honor his life and his relationship with New Iberia and Louisiana and the world. Like I said, the side of the park is between the Bayou Teche Museum and the Shadows, and it would just be another great attraction along the main street and for New Iberia and Iberia Parish. The land is hopefully being donated. The donation was signed. That is given from the law firm of the Landry, Watkins, Reprask, and Bro. Craig Bro is here also, and we thank them graciously for that donation. We have tremendous support. I spoke to the council maybe 2 years ago, and it's changed a lot. So, we do have support from y'all, and also from On Tap Group, the Parish Council, and the Visitor Center also. But I want to introduce Ted Viator of Viator Associates. They can show a little PowerPoint about what the park, what our idea of the park is like, and you can ask questions or whatever. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ted Viator. I'm from New Iberia. I'm a landscape architect in Lafayette. So this project started with Dan Spiller, who's also a landscape architect, and we're taking over the project. So this is a little. You gonna come first? This is Jenny that works with me. She does the computer work. So this is an image of the Blue Dog, which George Rodriguez is known for, and we'll kind of go through this kind of fast. The next is this is the site on the piece of, you see coming from Main Street, and the is there a pointer up here? No. The site is outlined in black. It extends all the way from Main Street to Bayou Teche, but we're looking at phase 1 is the front part of the property right adjacent to Main Street. The Bayou Teche Museum is to the left of it, right on the other corner. And the alley is, what's? Surratt Alley, right. that comes to Main Street. So we're looking at that where the park would be very visible from Main Street and also from the alley. This is the existing site, which is, since the building burns, this is a vacant lot. There is some landscaping along the street that would kind of like to tie into conjunction with the park. And you can see the sites, the other sites, the pictures at the bottom. Go forward. This is a plan that we have worked up all the way on the right, starting from the right side is Main Street. So we would open up the park to Main Street. The circle right when you enter would be a George Rodriguez fountain, a blue dog statue that would be in a raised planter. It wouldn't have a fountain, but this whole plaza is kind of designed as a plaza, as a people space that could be used for different functions. We kind of created spaces where if bad weather, that you can fit tents up in here, different size tents from like 30 feet wide to 90 feet long. So it would be a big open space where there would be benches, there would be lighting, uplighting of trees, using native plants to Louisiana, but keeping in mind very easy maintenance because I know landscape maintenance can be a problem. But that's why we're looking at using native plants and massing of shrubs on an easier scale. Right in the center of the park would be a grove of cypress trees that would be with a green area, and then above that would be a timeline for George Rodriguez's life in creating different situations in his life. Along the alley where the footing is still there for the building, initially we had proposed doing a mural on the building, and then we kind of came up with a thing that we think would be a little bit more interesting, and you might go, instead of painting on, these are some elevations of the building, of the park, what the timeline wall would look like. There would be seat walls made out of brick, kind of using the same old material that the building was made out of that burned in the museum, old brick, and then kind of earthy materials also. Working into drainage and site lighting also, the next page. This would be a vision if you were on a balcony on Main Street looking at. So as you're driving down Main or looking down Main Street, you see the circle it has a 18-inch bench wall around it, so you can sit on the bench and have the blue dog statue. The statue is approximately 5 feet tall?
No, 8.
8 feet tall, so it would be about 10 feet tall. So as you're driving down Main Street, the oak tree is not an oak tree that we're planting, because if we planted a tree that big, it would be way out of our budget. This would be a sculpture out of an iron artist that would be a flat sculpture, kind of modern, but a piece of art that would give the illusion of an oak tree instead of painting. And the building right behind the sculpture is the Bayou Teche Museum. So the sculpture would be airy and be open and really be another piece of art. As you look further down towards the bayou, those raised brick walls are an illusion of the walls of the building, but these would be walls with possibly open shutters and stuff where artwork could be hung for different galleries, for art shows, for art sales and stuff like this. So we're trying to make it a very versatile space, a very people space, a very comfortable space. And security being, like low planting. This is a view from across the street. You can see the blue dog statue is a three-sided sculpture. And you can see the oak tree. The oak tree is approximately 20 feet tall and 30 feet wide. And we're talking to an artist, a welder, an artist that could create something like this. So it would be flat. So you have the illusion of the blue dog sitting under the oak tree, which is very famous from Rodriguez paintings and stuff. We like to match the furniture to the furniture that's down Main Street already. Something very durable, iron bolted down, and lighting, some site lighting. Is that the end one? That's it. Any questions? Parking. Oh, parking. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yes. You pull in, and there are, I think, 5 parking spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 parking spaces altogether. That's the street, the driveway where you pull in from Main Street, and then when you turn around, there's 3 more, and you would exit in the alley down there. So, and then there could be future parking along the Bayou Teche in the back that goes along the boardwalk. So that could be like a later phase and stuff. And we're looking at concrete parking and. We haven't gotten to all kind of details of materials, exact materials, but we're trying to use the old brick and a lot of materials that you find Main Street. Also lighting, like where there would be uplighting on this statue of the sculpture, uplighting on the tree, which could be very fine at night. The whole thing just kind of pop. And what's really neat, and we had a 3D image, but it's on the computer, but it won't plug into here. When you drive down the alley, you have the Bayou Teche museum on one side. On the other side, you would have the other side of that iron sculpture, so you would have a view, because it being very open and artistic, you would look through and see the park from there too. So it's not hidden or not blocked by anything. But we're still researching the oak tree. We still like the idea of painting on the building, but the museum just redid all that brick. So I think the sculpture would be a very unique, and again, it's kind of like a piece of artwork and stuff. Any questions?
I have a quick question. The rules and regulations, I think I kind of went over that with Mr. Paul, but the rules and regulations for this particular pocket park, what are they going to be? And what type of signage are we going to have there concerning this particular beautiful piece of pocket park we have here in the future?
Those,
Oh.
Sheriff, excuse me. Those rules run under us. In other words,
Right.
we'll own the park.
That's
So it'll
correct.
be a pocket park, just
Yes.
like Church Alley, just
Yes.
like we've recently made Willing Plaza a pocket
Yes, sir.
park, just like we'll end up with the kayak dock as a pocket
Correct.
park. So we will set the rules and regulations. In other words, this is a complete donation to us. We will
Right.
own it as long as it's a park, and as long as it's a parking lot, it remains as a city property.
Okay.
So we'll,
So
among
have,
us,
we
we'll set
will
the
have
rules.
rules and
We
we
will
will have
have-
signage.
definitely.
Okay, that's what I'm told. Thank you.
We have a budget in there for signage, and so I figured that would have to be determined. We are looking at a park that would be open 24 hours a day, like it wouldn't be closed off. That would have access. That's why the lighting and safety and all of that is very important to it. Also, bike racks, that was part of our packages with the benches and the signs and stuff. Matt?
I have a question. Are we doing anything of like, I guess I don't know how to describe it, but like a podium or just something with some sort of plaque, kind of like what Miss Kathy has done, like when they did the cultural resources, where they did the benches and the benches, had the it was the people who donated them or something.
Yeah.
Like, are we gonna do some type of explanation of the park and how do y'all plan on exhibiting it?
Yeah, that would be, I'm on the timeline. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Fran Thibodeau from the Iberia Parish Tourism will give us a kiosk sign like they have downtown and throughout the downtown. Also, there is an old plaque that Kathy's mother worked on, how many years ago, that is still salvageable, and we'll put that back in there. And that's the site of the first courthouse. So it's a real historic site. So yes, we want to preserve all that and show all that.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
I was just wondering because it's pretty consistent now that we have them everywhere, but I just wanted to make sure.
Oh, believe me, they have assured me that it'll be back.
Yeah.
Okay, great. That's my only question. Oh, and
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
one more. Just because y'all said brick pavers, I say the floor, the cement, it's just gonna be regular cement,
We're
or
looking at cement, maybe staining it,
Staining
maybe
it,
different
that's what I was
patterns or
thinking.
something. I don't think our budget would allow for pavers on sand.
the whole way?
But I think as a tying into the sidewalks along Main Street and maybe some kind of design in the pavement and stuff, or like a border, that type of thing. But
Right.
we haven't really gotten to all of the details.
Well, I'm sure with, and I'm gonna put this out there, I'm sure with On Tap being so involved that Mr. Keith Duhon would be more than happy to do some free labor for the cement at the park.
Well, and one thing we've talked about, the timeline, while we're not sure, we've talked about it needs to be very weatherproof, very durable, and something that won't fade. And we told one thing we were playing around with, like an engraved granite or something, but I was thinking of a concrete wall, a poured, kind of rubbed finish or something like that might be kind of interesting to do that. So we're planning to all kind of options like that, but that is a good thing too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I guess questions and comments. So basically, the park is, y'all own the property already? Paul Rodriguez,
No, we're taking a donation.
The law firm has donated the property
that
to the city.
donated for y'all
Correct.
to develop.
Correct.
To give to us. And is there a cost from the city side?
This is a capital outlay project. We are graciously, you're gonna have to thank the law firm. I met with everybody this morning. I can't thank every member of that firm enough for this generous donation. But what's gonna happen, we take the donation, the money is capital outlay, so the money's coming from the state. We do the project, and as long as it's parking or a park, which we can, it remains in our possession. What we will do is we will maintain it as we do all of our other parks. We'll pay the light bill as we do on every other park. So it becomes one of our parks in our system, and we own it.
Okay, because I love the idea, for the record. I'm a big art fan. Matter of fact, Brandon Thomas was a firefighter here. You know Brandon.
Yeah.
Introduced me to art on you guys' level, and I was able to understand this. When I first went to New Orleans and saw the Blue Dog on Canal Street, I was so proud.
Yeah.
And now we're getting it on Main Street.
That's right.
It should have been here before it was on Canal Street.
Right.
So I'm supporting this 100%. But the reason why I ask the questions that I ask, you got to remember, just like Mr. Bell stated about Park, West End Park. We always think about, okay, well, why are they fixing up these new parks and we have issues in our park? So I wanted to be able to explain to the constituents who enjoy and frequent the West End Park that, where we stand in this deal. Because the George Rodriguez Park is an awesome endeavor. An awesome cooperative endeavor.
It's a gift to the city.
It's a gift.
And I think
And
that's
it's a
how
beautiful
we
gift.
have to look at it, is that it's.
And I love it. But you got to remember, I just got to
I
make
understand.
sure that I can translate to my community, oh man, another park, why they ain't fixing our park?
I understand.
You follow what I'm saying? But I love it. I love it. And I'll be sitting under that tree.
And I will take any gift to help the West End Park that I can get. So I think that
Right.
we're all on the same page, and we're all looking to improve every part of our community. And if we're smart about it and we accept the gifts that are good whenever they are approached and given to us, we'll slowly fix the whole community.
Because
But,
anything to beautify our city. I
understand.
mean, Main Street,
Yep.
I explain to people all the time. People say, oh, why Main Street got everything? I say, because it's Main Street. And I understand that. Main Street in every city in the USA has a Main Street. Why not keep ours beautiful?
And we've been very fortunate that there's so many millions of dollars of private investment on Main Street.
Right.
Something that you boosted it up. It's not, we can't take the credit all of Main Street. We wish we could, but we can't take the credit for all of Main Street ourselves,
Right.
as a city government, because so many individuals have chipped in.
Right. So Main Street is gonna be our nucleus, and then we're gonna bust out.
We're gonna
from Main
bust
Street
out and fix the whole
everything in the city.
town. You got a deal.
Thank y'all for
All right,
doing
thank
what
you.
y'all doing.
Thank you, Paul.
Mr. Russo.
The whole history part of the first courthouse would be a big part of that land too. We can look forward to the plaque or whatever, explaining what was there.
There's gonna be a timeline, and it will cover that too, I'm pretty sure. I mean, that's,
Knowledge,
yeah.
It's a
Right.
great piece of land.
Mayor, if I can,
Uh,
sorry.
1 second. Yes, Dustin.
Well, number one, I want to thank them for stepping up
Oh, yeah.
and making this happen. And I appreciate the law firm for doing what they're doing,
Oh,
because not only this is beneficial to the city of New Iberia, but it's also beneficial to them, because it's taking a piece of property and turning it into something real nice and honoring someone that I looked up to, because I love art as well. The question I have, so it's going to be in our parks system.
Yes.
So we're going to use our park and rec as to maintain this?
Yes, we are. Yes.
Okay. So that's the question I have. So,
Yes, we are.
all right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Any further questions? Zen.
Can I just add one more thing?
You sure can.
That in addition to the monies that we are expecting to get from the state, that we are, and I say we, because this is one big project, but, Paul especially and Karen Alvarez are seeking out private funds to assist in the development of this project. And that this is one whole project, this George Rodriguez Park, as well as the Doc Voorhees wing of the museum, which I think you will all be very, very proud once that is completed as well. And once again, even though it's already been said enough, so many times, but not enough times, that, our committee is so indebted to the law firm of Landry Watkins, Rapesk and Bro, because they didn't have to do this, but they recognize the value of this land to our community, and they love our community so much that they saw to doing this donation. And also, I'd like to thank Mr. Jeff Simon, the city attorney, who assisted in this donation agreement. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I want to echo that about the firm. You know, when that building burnt, that many of people's wanted to buy it to make it commercial. We could have a big building there without any more green space. And it just complements the museum. And the group of people that's here today is a small group of what got involved with the museum that was bought by a person that wanted to make it an industrial or really commercial building. And because of people like Kathy and Ms. Alvarez and all of them, it didn't happen. It became what it is today. And we don't appreciate that until after it's up. But it's a lot of work that's happening before it gets to this point. And I want to applaud your efforts because, you know, we can't only enjoy it. It's going to be our kids be enjoying it later on. And the museum is just, it's an awe. And I'm not a big history guy, but if you go in there, you're still like, oh. And I want to thank y'all. It really is very special. And thank y'all and thank the firm because that's a valuable piece of land. And you can't put a price on this, but it's valuable that it could have been something different. And they gave it for the betterment of the city. I want to thank them.
Councilmember Guidry?
When I first ran, one of the things that I was talking about was more green spaces here in the city of New Iberia. I find that we didn't have enough of. Also, too, I'm proud of this project as well. When I learned about it, this is going to be another endeavor for our kids to come and enjoy off another family-oriented avenue where they can come, sit, enjoy, take pictures, and do family things. So again, it's in my district. I'm proud of it. I'm proud of you guys, and thank y'all for everything that is being done right now. Thank you.
Great. Any other comments? Good. We'll move on to item number 4. Madam Clerk?
Financial reports, April 30th, 2017, budget to actual comparisons by Ms. Vada Dupre, Finance Director.
Okay, and we have an addition that I think we should amend, open and close the public hearing. You think we should do it now? We're going to adopt?
After. Yeah. After.
Okay, never mind. Roll.
Okay. Some of y'all may be questioning why we're doing it in the meeting as opposed to the budget meeting. And the main reason is that when the auditors come this year, they're having to do a special agreed upon procedure engagement for all governments. The legislative auditors requiring it. And one of the things that they're going to be looking for is to make sure that the financial statements, the budget to actual comparisons are being done at the meeting. And so that's why, starting now, we're going to have the monthly statements every month. We're a little, we're going to be behind, like this is April because it takes a while to close each month. But this is the first one, and so what you have in your packet is similar to what you had at for the budget meetings. You have the detail of the budget to actual. Is that me? Yeah? Okay. The detail, and then you have a recap. So right now we're at 6 months. So on average, we should be about 50%. Our expenditures should be about 50% of budget, and revenue about 50. I mean, some of it depends on what type it is, but just as a rule of thumb. So I'm not going to go over in detail. I was just going to kind of do an overview and just point out, if you look at your total general, our revenues are at 52% and our expenditures are at 46%. So overall, we're in good shape compared to budget. And then for each of the others, Parks and Recreation, revenues at 72% and expenditures at 41%. Public Works, revenue at 48%, expenditures at 46%. Sales tax, revenues at 52%, expenditures at 50%. Garbage, revenues 51%, expenditures 50%. Section 8, revenues 50%, expenditures 50%. And wastewater, our revenues at 47% and expenditures at 42%. But if y'all have any questions about the detail, if y'all looked at it, or I'd be happy to answer it for you.
I have 2 questions.
Yeah.
Do a curve to me this time.
All right. Tim, go ahead.
On page 5, the advanced in finance revenue, the advanced tax payment, why is it so more, so
Wait,
much?
which
On page
page?
5, the top, the first line,
The prior year ad valorem tax, is that what you're looking at?
yes, it's
That's-
386% used. You see?
Yeah, we budgeted 12,000 and we've actually collected 46,000. And the main reason for that, there was a tax, I can't remember who it was, but a payment that was made after the year end. They were late and it was like, I want to say 36,000 maybe. And that's why it's so much higher. So actually our collections last year were a little lower and we collected it this
So
year.
that was just a one-time.
It was one person, yeah.
Okay. And do we make that adjustment, or do we just
We-
stays in this?
Yeah, it stays in, it's gonna show up as your taxes, you know, in that category, but for here, it's gonna show up as prior year collections.
Okay, yeah, I have one more question. On page 16, the grass revenue. I know we got some money from the state, but that doesn't even match to what this is. You see how it's 348% more collection? And I
Yeah.
know we got some money from the state, we projected, $5,000? And we got,
Yeah, I think we're always a little conservative, or it's always been a little conservative on budgeting this, but I believe that's one of the adjustments that are in.
but that's not that 20 the state paid us? That's not even in here, huh?
When the state
Man,
paid us
paid
for what?
20,000, 25 to
Oh,
cut
under
the
our
right of
contract
way.
to cut the right of way.
Yeah,
DOTD.
that's not this, huh?
No, that's in the DOTD line item. It's
Yeah,
a
so
couple
this
above it.
is-
This is actual grass cutting revenues.
It just seemed like a lot.
I don't remember last year's number, but it might have been like 12,000, something like that. So
But we
it
only-
is a little bit higher
But we only
than normal.
50%.
Yeah, I understand, yeah. Yeah, it is a little high. I really can't answer why, maybe,
Okay. And that's fine, I just,
yeah,
because it's a
that's a
revenue.
good thing.
Yeah, it's a good thing, I was just
Yeah.
questioning why, you know, but, thank you so much.
Uh-huh. Anybody else?
Further questions? Great. Now
That's
we
it?
do our budget amendment.
Let me just stay here in case.
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Madam Clerk?
Okay, we do have to do a motion and a
Yes.
vote to add the agenda.
Yeah, we do.
Okay. Motion and vote to add the following item on the agenda, public hearing on special budget amendment ordinance number 2016-2017-07, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2016-2017, to carry over funding from fiscal year 2016, to carry forward unused funds from prior year grant to be expended this fiscal year.
Thank you. I need a motion to open the public comment. So moved by Mayor Pro Tem Doyle and a second by Councilmember Broussard. Do we have any public comment? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Lewis and a second by Councilmember Broussard. Now we have to, a motion to vote and accept. I'll need a motion. So moved by Mayor Pro Tem Dahl, I need a second.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Guidry. Do we have any discussion? We have no discussion? Please vote your machines. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Now we move on, Madam Clerk, to item number 5.
Introduction of ordinances. Introduction of ordinance to be set for public hearing August 1st, 2017. An introduction of budget amendment ordinance number 2016-2017-08, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2016-2017, to amend budget to provide for additional payments for CDBG wastewater project.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Swear. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Broussard. Do we have any discussion, questions on this item? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, 5B.
Introduction of ordinance to be set for public hearing August 1st, 2017. An introduction of budget amendment ordinance number 2016-2017-09, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2016-2017, to provide for mid-year budget amendments.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Lewis, and I heard a second. Wait a second. Councilmember Guidry, do we have any discussion?
I have one question.
Yes, Member Kim.
I see we made some transfers from the general budget to the park and public works.
What we're
Taking
doing,
from it.
Yeah,
yeah,
taking from 2 public works and 2,
right, we're reducing our transfer from general fund to parks and public works because they had more fund balance than we anticipated, so we don't need to transfer as much. They had more fund balance at the end of 2016. So
Okay.
we're reducing that, which puts more money back into the general fund.
yeah, that's all,
Yeah,
yeah. 'cause that's
yeah.
odd.
It is, yeah.
Normally it's not that way, okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was this for a particular, the money that's carried over from the general fund to Parks and Rec and to Public Works, was this used for any particular item or just to move the money?
It normally needs, it kind of makes up the difference between their revenues and their expenses, so whatever is needed to operate is transferred from general fund. So it's just an estimate when we do the budget.
Okay.
But it ends up being like globally in the department. It's not one item.
Not one-
Correct,
Yeah, it wasn't-
correct.
It's not
Specific
like
purchase that
one
you need
thing
to
knocked
move
the
the
home
money
run.
over.
It's just
Right,
kinda globally.
right.
We
Right.
subsidize them every year,
Yeah.
and it just
Yeah.
fluctuates.
But
But
you
this
want-
is the
And we
first
got
time we do this,
that it was left.
in the first 6 months, this is the first time we do that, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Further questions? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Madam Clerk, 5C.
Introduction of ordinance to be set for public hearing August 1st, 2017. An introduction of budget amendment ordinance number 2016-2017-10, amending the ordinance levying certain taxes, appropriating the funds necessary to defray the expenses and liabilities of the city of New Iberia for the year 2016-2017, to appropriate additional funds for Church Alley project construction and accept additional grant money for the project.
Do we have a motion? Motion by Councilmember Ledbetter and a second by Councilmember Lewis. Do we have any discussion? Hearing no discussion, please vote your machine. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 5D.
Introduction of ordinance to be set for public hearing August 1st, 2017. An introduction of an ordinance to enter into a cooperative endeavor agreement and lease with the New Iberia Museum Foundation Incorporated for the property being improved and developed with State of Louisiana capital outlay funds and known as the George Rodriguez Phase 1, and authorizing the mayor to execute the cooperative endeavor agreement and lease and any additional documents that he deems appropriate to accomplish the foregoing.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by
Second.
Councilman, you were first or second?
He's
Second.
first, I'm
Okay.
second.
All right, good. Councilmember Lewis and Councilmember Guidry, do we have any discussion on this item? Yes, City Attorney.
Yeah, if
Jeff
you don't
Side.
mind, I'd like to just outline how these agreements work.
I would love that.
Yeah, okay. So we really have 2 agreements between 3 different parties. The property that we're talking about is the property where the old Masonic Lodge building was. And that property will be donated, when y'all approve the resolution accepting the donation. That will be donated by Landry Watkins, Repaskin Bro to the city. And there will be a strip of land right next to their building that they will keep 20 feet wide for the driveway, but we'll have the use of that. And we'll also have a strip of land that we have the use of that, that connects to Surratt Alley and Burke Street. So there'll be kind of like an island that we'll own, and then we'll have a right-of-way going around it. And the deal is that we accept that property with some conditions. We're gonna get money from the state and from other people, to develop that property as the park. And then we're gonna have an agreement with the Museum Foundation, and they're gonna take responsibility for that park, subject to our rules. And we're gonna have some minimal maintenance costs there. But the money to develop the park, we believe is gonna come from the state and from private sources. And part of the deal with the donation is, if we don't get $100,000 by the end of this year and don't start construction by the end of next year, the property goes back to the law firm. And if we ever want to use the property for something, we can't use the property for anything except the park and parking. So there are restrictions on it. And if we violate those restrictions, it goes back to them. So we're taking this property with strings, because that's the intention of the whole project. We're taking the money from the state with strings, because the money from the state is going to come for purposes of this project. So it's not money we could spend on something else. And it's money a lot of people, in addition to city people, a lot of private volunteers have worked very hard to get our funding. So that funding effort has been, on the part of Kathy and her group. They have really worked hard to get that money for this purpose. So the city accepts the donation of the property subject to conditions. So that's kind of the agreement number one. And that's the one that you will accept or not accept with a resolution tonight. The second agreement is the agreement between the city and the Museum Foundation. Now, the city already has agreements with the Museum Foundation for the museum properties proper, for the ones that have been built and the ones that will be, and the one that will be improved on the corner. So this is kind of like a lease. So you kind of have a donation to us and a lease to the foundation. So the foundation is going to take responsibility for day-to-day operations, subject to some rules. And we're going to cut the grass, take out the trash, pay for the lights. But basically, the operating expenses are theirs. The operating responsibility is theirs, even though it's going to be an open park. It's a 25-year deal with a 5-year option to renew. So, the cooperative endeavor agreement and lease that we're talking about is that part of it. And because that is an alienation of property, like a lease or sale or something, we have to go through a more thorough process to approve that, which is why we're introducing that tonight. But step one is we get the property subject to some rules. Hopefully we get the money and then improve that property according to the master plan that is there, and then we turn that over to the museum so the museum can operate that. Part of the money that is coming from the state would also benefit the museum property on the corner, the Doc Voorhees building, I think it's called. So part of the money going to the little park, part of the money would also go into that. And some of the money for this project is going to have to come from private citizens, private fundraising, over and above what the state is going to give us, because the state's not going to give us enough to accomplish the whole thing. Phase one of the Rodriguez Park would be the part between Main Street and where Surratt Alley connects, or where that little driveway is. And we're going to maintain that as a limestone driveway. The law firm is going to keep the section in the back. And maybe if we follow the rules and behave and do a good job, we'll get that in a future donation. No commitment, but that's kind of the plan. So the plan eventually would be from Main Street to the Bayou, but it's going to take a lot of effort, to put this together. So the donation is up for acceptance, and then the intergovernmental agreement and lease, which is really kind of like a lease, that's up for an introduction, so we can have a public hearing and then approve that at the next meeting. Okay?
I got a short comment that people, I'm glad you brought it up, and it's more about the museum and the foundation, that the city owns the building, but the foundation runs it. Yep. Some people think the city employees run the museum, but it's not so. It's volunteers, and they have someone on staff, but the foundation runs the properties, not the city.
That's right. That's right. And we've, And the city is in the, we're part of the process because we can help to get some of the money in capital outlay funds. But yeah, this is a museum operation. Museum foundation operation.
Councilmember Sweet.
I don't know if the question was asked, but how much money are we looking at to do this project? Was that question asked?
I don't think so.
Can that be answered?
Phase 1, yeah. I think I know, but I'd like somebody else to.
The park?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have some preliminary numbers that the park right now, we're looking at with a 15% contingency would be around 411,000.
Okay.
So that is with the parking and, I mean, everything's complete. And that's like a rough estimate. We haven't gone up, we don't have final design, so we haven't got any bids or anything. Or, donations of possibly concrete being donated.
Now, that's not the building.
No,
That's
that's
all
the
part.
park.
That's just
The
the park.
park.
Yeah.
That includes purchasing the sculpture, and the iron tree and everything, and the lighting, all of this phase 1.
So how much money are we looking at to try and get from the state?
The state, we're looking at like 325, no, how much?
Kathy. Yeah. Kathy, if you don't mind.
This year, we are hoping to get 750,000. But remember, that's for the entire project. That's the park and the Doc Bory swing. With the hope and anticipation to get the rest of the funding, possibly the next year, but definitely by the third year. The governor has indicated that he would support us getting the total funding for the entire project. But we'll know, hopefully we'll know something this summer. But we think that we are in good shape to possibly receive that money.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Any further questions? Hearing none, please vote on the introduction of this ordinance. Thank you very much. Now we move on to item number 6, Madam Clerk.
Resolution accepting the donation of property from Landry, Watkins, Repask, and Bro in favor of the city of New Iberia for the development of George Wright Reed Park Phase 1, subject to the restrictions set forth therein, and authorizing the mayor to execute the act of donation and any additional documents that he deems appropriate to accomplish the foregoing.
Do I have a motion? So moved by Mayor
Second.
Gonzalez, second by Councilmember Guidry. Do we have any discussion? Before we vote, I'd just like to thank the law firm one more time, and I'm gonna tell one little story out of school. We're actually looking at a grant on the boardwalk, which runs through the back of the law firm's property. And we had a meeting this morning, and they graciously agree that we could redevelop the back of that property as well, because there's a grant that only is a water grant. We would be getting this because of the bayou. I don't really have another way to do it, but that's what the Wallet Bro money is for, is access for voting. And so we are actually looking at a project all back there, and we met this morning, had a little rough discussion about it, and they were in the game for that too, so their generosity continues. Sorry for interrupting. On 6A, do we have any other comment? None? Hearing none, please vote. Thank you all very much. Great, awesome, exciting. Madam Clerk, item 6B.
Resolution authorizing the mayor to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with Iberia Parish Government to use city-owned property located at 129 East Main Street, New Iberia, Louisiana, and more commonly known as the Slyman Theater for public meetings and/or special events.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I heard some motions, but I don't, Councilmember Swear and Councilmember Guidry. Okay, great. Do we have any discussion?
I got a question.
Yes.
So, it's pretty broad.
Yeah.
That mean they can use the slime at no cost?
Correct. What I'm
Okay.
trying to do is
It's a
do-
special event, is that?
Yeah, well, we'll deem what's special, I guess, but I'm trying to give them an intergovernmental agreement that the parish and the city could work together and that they could actually use that facility. Like Larry Richard has his
Tomorrow.
state of the parish.
Yes.
That's
He
what I
has
was gonna
his-
say. You
Yeah.
you cut the
Yeah.
wire
You better
right
hurry
here.
up.
I did cut it
If
close.
we say no,
We'd
just
have a
thought-
check.
He's
I know that.
canceled.
We just
The
thought of
police
it
stuff.
and said, you know, maybe we better do some
Yeah.
housekeeping, and he requested the
Town hall
building.
meetings.
Yeah, so town hall meetings, like the way we use it for our neighborhood watch meetings and town hall meetings. I thought, I mean, we are really having good success and good cooperation with parish government. So we thought it was a good idea, and you're right, he's gonna be using it tomorrow night, and I realized we better get permission. So that's why we're here.
Now, what about, Mayor, about the setup, the cleanup and all that? Is that gonna be our responsibility or the government who's gonna use it? Because sometimes you gotta set up chairs, you gotta do stuff. You know, if it's their event, are they gonna be providing the labor and people do it, or our public works, or park and recreation?
If we let them use it, it's gonna be park and rec. So if we wanna set a limit, now's the time to set a limit. If we wanna further discuss it, that's
I was just
that's
wondering.
why we're here. No, and I mean, that's not
There's a
something that
cost, you
should
know.
happen every week. I agree with you. Yes.
Well, I'll touch base on that. Special events, do we want to put it to where it's just approved by administration, or do we want council to approve it? Because, you know, I guess that's a, you know,
I'll take it either way. I mean, we're both city government together, so I'll bow down to either one. If you think that you want council to approve every time they use it, fine. If you want me to do it, we could set some parameters.
I mean, it doesn't matter to me. I'm not saying it doesn't matter to me. I'm bringing
No,
it
but
up
it's
for
important.
discussion
No, it's
because
important.
I think it's, you know, public meetings is one thing, but like you said, special events are another. Maybe public meetings are fine, but special events to be approved by council.
We certainly could do that.
You know, my.
Because if it's a public meeting, you know,
it's all-
I
we're
feel
all-
the same
we're
way.
all
If
the
they had a
parish.
facility and I wanted to have a town hall meeting, I know they would let me use it. But a special event is quite a different thing. That could involve fundraising, raising money, you know, things like that. I think that maybe could come through us.
I think that's a valid point. Yes, yes.
We have any idea how many events or meetings we're talking about?
No, we don't.
It's just starting.
No, I think it's open for discussion, and maybe we shouldn't leave it open. You know, I heard enough already to think we need to limit it.
My concern is someone wants to rent it and we say, oh, no, the parish wants to use it for no cost. Those things, not because we shouldn't work together at all.
That's a good point.
It's about an income that we might need.
Yeah, oh, and we do need it. Yes.
You're right about that. I agree that, you know, they're working with us and we can work with them and we're all working together to get things done. But a question I have is that we have a individual that goes and stays there until anything's done to lock up. And
It's usually 3 people.
It's more than
or
one.
more than
Yeah.
okay.
It's usually
that
at least,
comes
a
out
cost.
I see
of-
3 when I
that
go.
comes out of our pocket. That comes out of the city's pocket to cover the, you know, shutting down and cleaning up of
And
that
staying.
Mhm.
building when it's finished. So that's the question. That's,
It does.
So it's
I
gonna
think it should
cost
be a
us more.
minimum cost. I mean, I'm sorry, I mean, you know,
I'm not
I mean,
cool.
I
I'm not
can
cool with
understand.
charging.
I can understand that. They are coming to us, and we're going to them and working together. Great. You know.
Well,
I
I have a
just-
question.
Yeah, and it is in the event, it does say subject to availability.
Oh.
So if it's rented, I mean, if
Okay,
you read
says that
the
on there?
event, yeah, it is
Okay.
in there,
In
so.
the agreement.
Are we, right now, how's it going in Parks and Rec? Are we letting them get overtime or no? If they stay late for a meeting at the slime and do they knock off 3 hours early on
We've been working
Friday?
it where they're not getting overtime for the most
That's
part.
what I'm saying. So if they stay, if he stays 3 hours extra on an event Thursday, we're losing him 3 hours on Friday if he has to take it in the same pay period to avoid overtime. So, you know, I guess it's like, I don't want to say that I feel like we should charge him, but I feel like it should be, you know, as far as like, if they want to do town hall meetings, maybe like quarterly. I mean, we don't want it to get to where it's like every month.
I agree. I
Kind
think
of
we're
set
already
some.
headed
I
to-
don't believe in charging them, but I believe in parameters. And as far as special events goes, to me, a special event, anything that is
that's
gonna.
pretty loose.
I think we're dropping that one. Yes, Jeff?
Maybe you could say 3 events, 4 events, free. After that, they cover the cost. You know, I mean, you don't have to have money for every event. I mean, I think the government's can cooperate. I think that's
I do too.
legal to do that. But, you know, if you're talking about 3 or 4 things, it's different from, you know, a dozen or 15, and then you know, if a parish council person asks for the use of the building, is that really parish government?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think it would be my opinion that if a parish councilman wants to use it, they have to send a request to Larry, and then Larry has to communicate that with you. Not that I don't think parish council people should just be able to call up to City Hall and be like, I need the slimming next weekend. You know, like, I think they should request through Larry, and that's something that you and Larry can touch base on and monitor. And if you see that something's kind of getting excessive, you'll know, and then you can come to us. But
I like the idea of limiting it to a number.
And especially since we're not allowing them to get overtime, we need to limit that. Losing someone, for 3 hours a quarter is not that big of a deal to me when you look at the grand scheme of what they give to us sometimes. But we just need to, reciprocate everything as even as possible.
Mayor.
Yes.
I have no problem let you make the decision of when they can use it. And I mean, you're pretty knowledgeable about if they're taking advantage of the situation. And if it is, you can just call them and talk to Larry and say, look, I didn't use it 3 times. I think we can trust you to make that call. And I don't think they're going to abuse it, but as you said, with all the council members, if they all decide want a town hall meeting every month, then that could be a concern.
Right, and I think if they're serving food, if they're serving food or beverages, I feel like we do need to charge a cleanup fee.
Okay.
Just because that's, the neighborhood watch meetings, I think y'all just kind of in and out, kind of like how I do mine, right? Right, so if they haven't, right, and see that.
And I'll just read this in our agreement. In consideration for the use and occupancy of the Slyman Theater and its adjacent parking lot, the parish further agrees that it shall return and relinquish the facility herein above mentioned to the city in a clean and attractive manner in the same condition that it was prior to the occupancy by the parish. So that tells me
that means they're dumping trash.
They clean, yes.
Okay.
Now, I kind of think we could list the parameters. Of
Yeah,
that
I think
more
we
and
should.
put
That
what we're gonna ask them to do.
the trash, all that, anything that's brought in has to be brought out.
What's the protocol now? They do have a town hall they have now like once every couple of months. What's the protocol when those?
We haven't charged, and they had just called and booked it, and that's what we kind of realized we needed to.
I support that. I support
needed to be a
what
little
they're
more
doing.
professional and tie it down a little bit. And I do. I think the town halls. I think the state of the parish, the town halls. We're part of the parish.
Right.
I feel that is something that's worthwhile. I do understand though, with 14 council members, it
But
could
they
get
can't
out of
do it all.
hand.
That's one thing, they can't do it all at one time. It's
Right,
broken up.
right.
But so you might have 6
But
town
then
halls.
again, if you represent Koto, then go to Francis Romero building.
Well,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So you can break that down so many different ways.
We have 7 districts in the city, so I get why, that they're reaching out to us for those areas. But another thing I just thought of is that, like, when we have a neighborhood watch meeting, we don't have security, but there's always a representative there from the sheriff's office.
Correct.
So it's like if something goes wrong, we have someone. So it's like, I feel like if they're going to have a town hall meeting, which, anything in government can go from real nice to really ugly in like 5 seconds, I feel like that they should be required to reach out to the sheriff's department and see if somebody will, come stop by and hang out with them for an hour and a half or so. Because we're liable. That's our building. If something goes down in there and somebody gets in a fight, something gets out of control, it's our building. So I think we should cover that area as well.
All right. Further discussion.
So in that intergovernment agreement, you have the liabilities that's listed in there. I didn't get a chance to take a look at it. So there's liabilities listed in there.
Yeah, we agree that they hold us harmless and identify and hold us harmless in Article 2. It is in there.
Okay.
But
just having one worker from the park and rec department, is not sufficient. Right.
Okay.
Somebody can go. They'll go.
What if it's vice versa? What if we go and because the senior citizens building and the Sugar Cane Festival building
our parish
are
building.
parish.
Yeah.
So we also got to think about that too.
Wait, the senior citizen building?
The one
No,
Is
you're
the
talking
city?
about the veterans.
Oh, the Veterans
Memorial and the
I'm
Sugar
sorry.
Cane Festival.
I'm correct. Yeah, you correct me.
And I'm sure if we wanted an intergovernmental agreement to say that we wanted to use those facilities, we could. But how many times we have this line? I don't know that we would.
Right. I'm just So that's another thing.
Yeah.
And we're kind of in some new territory with the amount that we're communicating with parish government, the amount we're going back and forth, the amount we're trying to partner. You know, we have the dog catcher we're partnering with. We're thinking of every opportunity. No, it's true. So we are kind of in some uncharted territory. I think it's good that our taxpayers see that we're cooperating and communicating and trying to find the most efficient use of our tax dollars. But it does bring up a whole lot of new issues. So this is the first of probably many.
I am interested in what Mr. Swear said though about the Veterans Building.
Yeah. Well,
Because that's a parish building in the middle of the city that
It
does
is.
have a stage and chairs. Not to say we're trying to be standoffish,
no,
but
that could be
and they
I
house
think we take each
they house
agreement-
people to manage that.
Yeah. And I think we take each agreement, and if that's something that we think we would have a use for, I think we take each agreement, they each
Case by
stand on
case.
their own and case by case, and, this is the beginning of hopefully many, the more of these the better.
Yes.
Because it means that we're working together.
Right.
We just gotta iron them out, and this
Together.
happens to be the first one. Yes, sir.
And again, when I was listening to everybody and I was thinking about, is there anywhere in there where the parish bring their own cleanup crew?
Yes,
Don't
it
they
does,
have a maintenance
yes,
crew?
it
That's what
does
he said,
say,
they have
it
to.
does say
So
they have to
wouldn't
leave
that-
it, they would
That
leave
would
it
take
like
care
they
of us
found it.
leaving,
Yeah,
our-
We still have to have
We-
someone there.
We
to
still have a
open
person
and
there.
close.
We
To
probably
open
still have
and
to have
close.
one person to open and close.
one person open and close, but nobody to clean
Right,
up.
nobody to clean, because they would leave it in the shape they found it in. So we give it to them
And then-
clean, we get it back clean.
And then if they using our building and nobody using their building, then we just use their building.
Well,
You see, we just be going back and back, and if we're not careful, we may not be able to get that big equipment we need for.
They have better
to clean
parking,
some of
to
the
be
things we
honest,
need to
as a
get
veteran.
right, right, and we will, but that's why I think you take it in a case-by-case basis. Yes, Jeff?
You probably ought to say subject to availability and approval by the mayor,
Correct.
so it's not open-ended.
Right.
Okay.
And then if y'all do this, you can end it at any time if it doesn't work. And you could also communicate to the parish president, we'd like a similar courtesy at the
Veterans.
Memorial or something,
Right.
so.
And I think not on weekends.
That's
Well,
true,
like I
too.
said, ours is per availability, because we do rent the slime, and we depend on that income.
Right, but the park and rec people shouldn't have to come to work on the weekends or work later on the weekend because a council member couldn't pick a better date to have a town hall meeting. That's just my personal
Yeah, well, I
opinion.
really think that we should save those weekends and when we really rent the building, and that should
Right,
be
that's what I'm saying.
for
so
revenue.
I would just take out I would say, Monday through Friday.
And that brings on one more thought for me. Is it documented that we're using it just for governmental functions?
Yes, yeah, they
That's
can't
what we're
even
saying.
be person.
We just
Right.
would do
You know,
public meetings.
Right, and now we
information.
actually took out special events, and it's
Public
only
information.
public.
Okay,
Only
especially
government,
with
government
events opened
public
it up.
meetings.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have a little dilemma, that we have a whole lot of work to do on this resolution, and,
We just got two changes.
we just have two changes, so.
We can accept it upon those changes,
Right,
Jeff.
right, so we need a resolution, somebody needs
I'll
to.
make a substitute.
Okay, well, Mayor Pro Tem,
I'll second
substitute
it.
motion, second by Councilmember Swiggs.
Regional.
Roll it.
No, I would like to, we can take out the special use in the resolution and add that they need to supply the security for the sheriff department. And I think Natalie made a comment from Monday to Friday,
Yes.
right? I think that was about it, huh?
It's subject to availability.
It's subject to
and approval
availability.
by the mayor. I have it, but I'm gonna add
But
approval by the
it
mayor.
didn't say approval by the clerk.
Okay,
Courtesy.
with those changes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Monday through Thursday. Friday's a
Monday through
weekend.
Thursday.
Okay, all right.
Was that everything we had talked about?
I think so. It's not
Cleanups
like
on
a
there,
different
but we
situation.
said, you said you wanted to specify cleanup, but you just gonna tell them that?
Right, well, the cleanup's in there, so I'll just specify what I expect to do.
Okay.
And send them a
Why
letter.
gotta be Friday?
Okay, so,
Why not Friday?
any other discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Great, thank you. Someone tell Parish President M. Larry Reshore he can use the building tomorrow night. Thank you all very much.
Someone better tell them clean up.
Yeah, yeah. Madam Clerk, item 6C.
Resolution authorizing the city to request that the Department of Transportation and Development prepare a study to evaluate the installation of sidewalks along Louisiana Highway 14 and crosswalks at the intersection of Queen City Drive and Louisiana Highway 14 for access to Sucrose Drive, Pepperplex, and hotels.
Do I have a motion? Motion by Councilman Broussard. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Lewis. Mr. Broussard, this is your baby. I'm gonna turn it over to you.
This is a safety issue. The state has different departments. I'm getting some flack lately, Mr. D-Court,
Okay.
on K&E mostly, that people need to know that different departments have different monies that only can be spent for those departments. Safety department is for safety. Bridges are replacing bridges or repairing bridges. Roads are for roads. So people have to understand when we request for safety project, and I want to bring in that lady. We had Miss Ashley Moron with the Acadian Planning Organization, that is for the safety. Make sure she pushes this. We pay a fee to belong to that organization. So I want to clear the air real heavy, that when you push for a project, and it's from the state, if we don't use it, somebody else is going to use it. Now, I'd like to ask, even on this resolution, I thought of another idea that might help if they'll do that instead of even, I like my sidewalk idea. Turning lane when you go into Highway 14
Right.
on Center Street, a turning lane for the racetrack gas station, a turning lane for the Lowe's. When you're going down, you have to just turn in. You have a turning lane before it. It's along the road. You have a third lane, like you get off, and then you turn into your establishment. So I'd like to know if we could add that to that resolution, that they'll make a turning lane going towards, on your own Center Street, going towards 14, going towards 90.
You
can
can,
add
you
a-
don't think we should do those separately?
I'm just saying, we'll do that
I
later.
have no problem if
That's
you want to
another
do one, but
safety
I
idea, but the
think that
main,
if you approach them one at a
That's
time,
right.
you got a better chance of
understand.
getting them
We'll
back.
do that later.
Because they're gonna say no to the whole thing, even if they don't like one.
I see.
So,
Well, we wanna
why don't
come-
you do, at the next, if you want to do the next meeting,
it's
but I
all
kind of
for
think.
the- it's all for the
let's do
kids
each one.
again.
Let's chip at it.
the,
Let's chip at it.
the Pepperplex has asked for this. That's for their kids. Future hotels, future establishments along there. We need sidewalks like every other town has for their big Pepperplexes, their baseball parks. Look at it. They got sidewalks all along the side of them. So we're just asking what to do, but I want to clear the air big time. You want to ask about flooding, Mr. Freddie? Did Mr. Wilson okay that he's coming in on the first? Mr. Sean Wilson,
Yeah, we'll work- we're working on
secretary?
it. We're
He
working
hasn't
on it.
confirmed it
He
yet.
hadn't confirmed yet.
That's
He has
fine,
not
but if he
confirmed.
does come in, I want the people to come ask him about where the flooding is on Emerald Hall and all that. Yeah, it's time to ask him where we gonna get help on that. So, but if we don't ask for it, we will not receive it. And
Okay.
some other towns will get it. So that's why we put it on the block.
Good.
Mayor,
Yes.
I think one thing, because I brought this up a couple of years ago, is to mention to the study about the kids. I mean, kids are more important than almost anything. And when you put 1,000+ kids in the opening day of the Pepperplex, it's major. And I mean, we need to emphasize about the children.
Okay.
And I think that has a lot to do with monies, because anytime the school board wants money, they mention kids and they get it. So I think it's something we need to put in as a resolution to the state.
Okay.
And maybe that'll help us go a little farther with the project.
I had something.
All right.
I agree with Mr. Dandall as well. My kids played soccer for many years, and opening day for soccer at the Pepperplex, and we also have to consider the future corridor for I-49 there as well. So we might want to consider maybe some sidewalks and consider mentioning the children there and the sports and in that particular area. So I think it's a better chance at that study by mentioning those things.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Great. Appreciate that. Further discussion? So we'll go ahead and amend the resolution to mention the children. Yes.
So we're gonna, his resolution right now, so we're gonna add what he wanted in there.
Yes, what we need to
This is
do.
what we're gonna do?
Yeah, to do it the right way, we need to add some wording in
turning
this
lane.
resolution.
Context.
No,
I'm talking
no,
about
we're
the
gonna
turning
do,
lanes,
no,
but
we'll do the
no.
turning lanes in another I think you
But
should
that
bring that
does-
as a whole separate issue. Let's fight our battles one at a time.
Right,
And
right.
win or lose them one at a time. I think what we need to do tonight is amend the resolution, add a little wording. We'll put it, whoever wants to amend the resolution, that adds that we would like the state to consider the number of children that use and access and utilize, the number of families that utilize the Pepperplex, and that this is important, that it's the safety of thousands of kids to some extent. But whoever
I
wants to
agree with
word
that.
it, we word that, we add that to the resolution, vote on it, and send it on its way. So does anyone want to make a motion to amend the resolution? Mr. Broussard? Okay,
I'll
second? Second?
Second.
Councilman Swear? Okay.
Thank
Amendment?
y'all, appreciate y'all help.
Okay. You want to word the amendment?
Thank y'all, and I'll let
Okay.
you go.
Well, let's just word the amendment that the Pepperplex, we want to make note that the Pepperplex is utilized by thousands of kids on opening day and many families throughout the entire season, sports season. So we ask them to please consider this as a safety issue that concerns our children. That works for you? Works for me.
Try to get that more on, lady.
Okay.
Yes, if you don't mind.
Great. Yes.
So going back about the children, so I can say easily, I witnessed an accident on 87 Sunday. There's many kids that walk along that highway, that go to that grocery store that we just put up. That could have been something that we could have thrown in there. Children,
Well, it's not a public place.
Yeah.
it's a state highway.
Yeah, but it's a public.
And you know what? If you want to do a resolution to ask for a sidewalk for that one, pile it on. As
Not on
Mr.
this
Bruce,
one.
That's why I'm
not
trying
on
to
this
tell
one.
the speed, though.
As
That's
Mr.
why,
Broussard said, if we don't ask, we don't get.
We don't.
Right, Mr. Broussard? So any of these issues that are on state highways that, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. If there are issues that you have in your district that's a state highway, let's bring them.
And I'm not
All they
asking
can
for
do
a
is tell us
sidewalk,
no.
I'm just asking for a
But if you
reduction
want
in
to,
speed.
you could.
Nah, I don't.
You could.
Go that far.
Okay. Any further discussion? Then I'll ask you to please vote your machines. Great, thank y'all very much. Good job, Mr. Broussard. I'll be looking for the next one in the next meeting. All right, Madam Clerk, we are on item 6D.
Approval of certificate of substantial completion submitted by Vince Como LLC contractor for completion of the project described as New Iberia City Parks Security Camera Project and recording of the certificate with the Iberia Parish Clerk of Court.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Whoa, we had a bunch of them. Motion by, who was on, I didn't see, who was on this end?
It was me.
Oh, okay. Councilman Ledbetter, and a second on this end by Councilman Lewis. Do we have any discussion on this issue?
One question, Mayor.
Yes.
Do you remember the amount of the project? Couldn't read it, no way.
I couldn't
Ball.
remember what it was either.
I really did pay out of
19,000.
leave.
Okay. It's no big deal. I just normally we have it on.
I know, and I thought it was in there. I really,
And it had no overruns on it?
no, we had a couple of changes. Clico donated some poles and did some wiring for us. It held the contractor up. The contractor signed a contract with a one-time payment and ended up waiting over probably 2 months for these changes to happen, and was very patient with us, but,
No extra cost?
no.
Was about that much?
Yeah, it was around
Okay.
19,000 something, but I
Okay,
don't
no
have the
problem.
exact
I was just
amount.
wondering, 'cause I knew they had some changes. I just didn't know.
They did, and he's worked very well with us on those changes.
Thank you.
And hopefully that money would be well spent just to stop one burglary. I mean, we were having so many break-ins and so many issues, I really feel that those cameras will pay for themselves. Any further discussion? Yes.
Who's gonna be monitoring these cameras around the clock? Just
They're on at the parks, and the parks can pull them, and we've already had a couple of incidents that they got to pull them and go back and go to law enforcement and look at the tape. So, they're monitored in the parks. Further questions, discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines. Great, thank y'all very much. We move on to item number 7. Madam Clerk.
Recommendations from the Planning and Zoning Commission. A recommendation to rezone a vacant lot located at West Main Street owned by Joey Thomas Miguez, represented by Phil Gilbo from C1 to I1, and further described as follows: that certain irregularly shaped lot of ground with all improvements thereon situated in Iberia Parish, Louisiana, within the corporate limits of the city of New Iberia, being bounded on the north by Blair R. Signs, on the south by Maubert R. Signs, by Frank H. Simon R. Signs, on the east by Fulton Street, and on the west by Munson R. Signs and Frank H. Simon R. Signs.
Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Sherry Guidry. Do I have a second? Second by Mayor Pro Tem Dahl. Do we have any discussion on this item?
I just have one quick discussion.
Sure.
If I can call Miss Jane up real quick and just kind of tell us in a proof of what this really means.
Good.
Because I missed the meeting because I was out of town.
Sure. The owner of Simon's Glass, located on the corner of
Main Street.
Jefferson and Main,
Yes, ma'am.
is buying the lot next door to relocate his business there. The property that he's buying is not zoned for the business that he does, so right across the street on Fulton Street is a light industrial, and that's what he's requested to do, and there was no opposition from the neighborhood. I got several calls, people just inquiring as to what the change was gonna be, and everyone who called was in support.
So from a C1 to I1 basically is,
Light industrial, but it will allow him to continue the business that he's been operating there for a number of years.
okay. Okay, thanks, Miss Jane.
Thank you.
That's all I need to know.
Further questions, discussion? I'll ask you to please vote your machines. Great, and Phil's here. Phil, I'd like to thank you because this opens up your present building as a rental building to bring another business, and you didn't move far, right next door, you're still in town, and we thank you. Good. All right, now we're moving on to item number 8. I see Mr. Landry's already here. Property standards, Madam Clerk.
Public hearing on the demolition or removal of properties listed on the attached resolution number 17-28 as advertised on April 28th, 2017.
I need a motion to open this hearing.
Motion.
Motion by Councilmember Lewis, second by Councilmember Broussard. Do we have any public comment?
You want to do each one as we go?
We can, and
Well,
I guess I close the motion, or do we do public comment for each? We open it for each one?
I don't know.
It's a
But we have some
mandatory
people here,
public
I'm sure, that
hearing.
want to talk about.
Jeff.
You need to call them up one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Do
do I
the
leave, I
public
leave the
comment and
public hearing
everything.
open,
Leave it open.
and then we call them all up, and then we close it?
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
Open it, do one at a time, then close it.
Okay, well, please, you vote your machines to open the public hearing? We have a motion to open? Yeah, we already had a motion. We didn't vote though. So, vote, you don't need to vote to open the public hearing. Okay, done then. Public hearing's open. Roll, Mr. Jimmy.
Okay, the first house is 702 Compton. Is there anybody that wants to speak about that house? Come on up.
Not in District 1, boo.
Good evening. My name is Sam Domain, and I live at 706 Compton Street. And I'd like to address the council, and thank you for letting me talk. As you can see in this picture, a picture is worth 1,000 words. This you can't turn into an open-air park, but you're about to turn it into a wildlife management area. As we talked about, you mentioned about kids, there's a school adjacent to the back of this property. And these school kids have to see this property every day, just as we have to see this property every day. My house is on the left as you look at this picture. You can't see my house in it. Every morning when I walk out, I have to walk out with a flashlight to be able to make sure that nothing's gonna come out from in the bushes, because I've seen just about every kind of rodent, vomit, critter that you can think of coming in and out of that place. This place has been going down for about 10 years now. And the owner of it, he had fell upon some hard times and became handicapped, and I think had to move into a handicap facility. But it's really gotten bad in the last couple of years, and and the property value. They got people in our neighborhood that's been trying to sell homes, and somebody comes to look at your house for sale, and we got some pretty nice homes in our neighborhood, and they see this, and I mean, it turns them off immediately. So, we're just asking if, to consider this, really take a good look at this, because this has been in our neighborhood for a long time, and we'd really like to get rid of this. I appreciate you.
Animals that are coming out, going in and coming out.
I did.
Well, yeah, I mean, name them.
What- Okay, we've seen raccoons, possums, snakes. There's bats coming in and out of the house, cats, stray cats in the neighborhood that are probably helping to keep the rats down. But it is, it's a nuisance, you know, and it's the grass, right here, you see the grass is cut. They cut it the day before. The grass is 1.5 feet tall. They come maybe once, twice a year to cut the grass. I don't like to complain, but you know, with all the rain we've been having, the mosquitoes and everything, there's a hot tub on the back porch of this place. And I know it's holding water, and it's a breeding ground for mosquitoes. You know? So I appreciate your time. Thank you very much.
Yes.
I want to thank you because all the years I've been here, you never see someone in the neighborhood come up here and complain about something that, you know, normally is a call. So I want to thank you to take your time for y'all coming up here to say that, because this is, that's what needs to be done, because it affects your property value. And we can't appreciate it until we hear from people like yourself, and I want to thank you for the time to come up here.
Mr. Domain, what school is this near?
Pesson Elementary.
Okay, Pesson Elementary.
Yes.
Okay. Because I was trying to think where Compton Street was.
It's
Yeah,
in my
all
district.
the Compton Street, all the back of the houses along Compton Street on my side of the street is adjacent to the property of the school ground.
The back, that's all. That's all yours. And I'm talking that's all for 38 years. And I love the school. Love it is. And that house is just a disgrace.
It really is.
To come down.
I lived my whole life a block from where you're talking.
I know
That's
exactly
my
where
whole-
you
That's a
live.
Broussard subdivision.
Yeah.
And that's disgraceful from what it used to be in there.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Jimmy, anything we can do, if it has electricity, how long it's been out, we need to do something.
I don't know.
Thank you
No,
very much.
that house
Thank you.
I
doesn't,
appreciate
We
it.
need to
doesn't
do
have
something.
electricity.
Yeah.
Mr. Jimmy, is there anyone here that is here to
I don't know.
represent this
Is
property?
anyone here for that property? No.
Okay, what about you said the person is in a nursing home or something to that nature?
No, I think he's in a handicap apartment.
Okay, and was he sent a certified letter or anything
Yes.
notified? Has he responded,
Mm,
and on which date?
No, the letter came back to me. We actually sent a letter from Lynn Durwan, the attorney's office, and it came back unclaimed.
Yes, sir. Okay. Thank you.
All right, my recommendation's gonna be 90 days. Try to serve him one more time, and then at the end of the 90 days, we can make a decision.
Okay. Do you know if you have children or any of the such that can?
I don't know.
No children.
No children.
Huh?
So we'll review in 90 days.
How many times we tried serving them?
It's on record for.
I tried from our department with a certified letter, and then we sent it to Lynn Durwan.
Do we have to do
I
90
mean,
days?
do you really think another letter?
Well,
is
my
gonna make a
problem with
difference?
not doing the 90 days, the post office has to serve them. They tried 2 or 3 times, and it takes almost 60 to 70 days before I get the letter back.
So
To
you
know
want
it.
documentation from the post
But,
office.
right, with the
Okay.
documentation.
We were on the same page.
Yeah.
We were thinking, that's a long time.
Right, right. But that way, that gives me time to serve him, try to serve him one more time and get something done.
I've got a question to Ms. Sherry. If he doesn't get served or gets served, do you have a recommendation what you
Oh,
want?
I can tell you what my
I know,
recommendation.
but I was just wondering, we can
Well,
maybe take care of all this.
Well, I mean, if he doesn't have any children and you served him a certified letter, how many times? Once or twice?
I served
And-
him once and the
we'll do
attorney
Once
sent
on
one.
record,
Yeah, we'll do
okay.
one, too.
And do you actually, can you go to the assistant living and actually do that, or is he in bad shape? Do you know this
That
condition?
I don't know what kind of shape he's
Okay.
in.
Okay.
I'll try to find a phone number for him.
90 days
maybe
is
call
a
him.
long time for these people to put up with this a little bit longer, but like you said, it is a process, so, whatever.
Let me just say this. The whole front wall is caving, it's going inside. I mean, it's not even standing
Yeah.
straight.
So you wanna put it on
Ma'am, you have to
demolition
approach
list?
the podium if you want to speak.
Well,
Yes.
I don't want, that's okay.
Okay, well, I mean,
Thank you.
okay, no problem.
But I'm just saying, it's You can drive by there.
I've been there.
Yes, ma'am.
Saw it already.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
A lot of people are allergic to certified mail, and they're not gonna
Yes.
go get it.
Right.
So is there any way we could, if we know where he is, give him actual
That's what I was,
notice of it?
yeah.
I guess,
Do we know?
To
where
me,
he
that
is?
would be a last attempt to at least let him know that his house is on the demolition list. And tear it down if he doesn't respond.
I can try. I can see if I can find him.
Okay, you know which assisted living he's at?
No, not right offhand.
Do we have,
He lives in an apartment called Squirrel Run. That's in a lot.
Okay.
Is that, I mean, the address is 2118 West Old Spanish Trail, is that?
That's the Squirrel Run Reserve.
That's the reserve?
Yeah, so that's the new apartment.
Living pretty good over there.
Living pretty good if he's
Well,
at the
well,
reserve.
that's the, wait a minute, so let
All
me
right,
get this
back on
straight.
track.
So he lives in 2118 West Old Spanish Trail, number 5,
I don't know what number 5 is.
or whatever, but
That's
that,
N5 is the room. It's the-
oh, okay, so,
no, that's not,
That's-
Nope.
That's
Okay,
not the
one at a
reserve. The
time.
reserve buildings are labeled by
right,
alphabet.
it says
Well, no,
reserve,
this is
right.
N5.
N5.
That is
Oh, okay.
N5.
Okay, she just said 5, sorry.
Yeah,
One at a time.
Girl, no mind, no mind
Yeah.
farming sometimes. Some people.
Okay,
You can send it restricted, he got a sign for it. You don't just get it mailed.
Yeah. Right. One at a time, one at a time. Mr. Schwartz, Councilman Schwartz.
Do we have anyone that can go, I understand Mr. Jimmy's job is to do what he's doing right here, but do we have anyone who can go that can actually serve them at their residence when we have the address? Just ask.
Oh, I mean, we don't have anybody besides Jimmy, really.
Oh, bit.
Well, right now, we don't.
No, I'm just picking up on Mayor Pro Tem's comment.
Yeah, right now, we don't.
Okay.
okay, so what do you suggest, Mr. Jimmy, or what do you suggest? Because,
Well, for
I
my
would like
files
somebody
and-
to go in and actually bring it directly to him.
For my files and my documentation, let me try to serve him one more time.
That's what I would like.
And then at the end of 90 days, it'll be my recommendation to
Yes,
tear
sir.
it down, but then we gotta find the money.
Okay, so 90 days is what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's the process.
Right.
Okay, so basically you're telling us today that you're actually gonna go and serve it yourself, is what you're saying?
Well, I'm gonna try to certify the
And a
letter.
letter,
Yeah, and I'll see if I can get his phone number.
okay. Well, why don't we review it in 30 days then?
Because I can't get the letter back.
Okay,
I won't have the documentation back.
okay,
It's taken 60 to 70 days sometimes before I get letters back.
okay. Thank you.
All right. Next.
They gotta vote
Oh, we got to vote on that.
to revisit.
All right, let's vote.
Gotta have a
Need a
motion.
motion to vote to revisit 90 days.
Motion to revisit in 90 days.
Motion by Councilmember Guidry, second by Councilmember Broussard. Please vote your machines. Motion carries. Next.
October the 17th is 90 days.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, 503 East Dale. Is there anybody here for that property? You're welcome.
Yes, thank y'all. 503 East Dale. Anybody here for that property?
90 days, you tear it down after 90 days, it's gone. Dope, drugs, you name it, has been through there. So I have a lot of neighbors
All right.
are looking forward
Way
to
to
it.
go.
All right.
Yeah.
90 days.
That's your motion? Motion by.
Second.
Second by Councilmember Lopez. Do we have any further discussion? Please vote your machines.
Yeah.
All right, next property, Jimmy?
$820 and a half field.
Anyone here of 820 and a half field? Yes, sir. Please, okay, please approach the podium and state your name and tell us what you got.
My name is Alfred Bills,
Yes, sir.
and my uncle died and left the house there, so I've been paying the taxes and keeping the grasses up there.
Okay, whose district is this?
Wait, I can tell you.
Okay.
District 5.
It's me.
Sheriff.
Yes.
Can you tell us your intentions with the property?
Well, my property, they asked us to tear it down, but I'm gonna need a little time to tear it down because I live on a fixed income, and ain't got nobody else but me, to take care of the property.
So you're electing to tear it down yourself, sir?
Well, I can't tear it down because I got something stencil in my heart.
Okay.
But soon I get enough money, I'm gonna pay somebody to tear it down.
Okay, what is the stipulations whenever they want to tear it down themselves? We have like a certain amount of time we give them, or it's
That's
just
up to us, and we try to
Work with
continue
them?
to work with them, but at
Right.
the same time to revisit it.
Revisit.
And to get some progress, and
They get a permit.
Okay.
and they have to get a permit and tear it down.
Okay, and what is your name, sir?
Alfred Bills.
Mr. Alfred, so you gonna apply for a permit to tear it down at your leisure?
Yes.
Okay, so that's
I think you need to get a timeline, because we gotta revisit it.
okay. So we
We
want
can't leave it open-ended, or it's.
So how soon can you go and apply for a permit, Mr. Alfred?
Give me 30 days.
30 days?
Well, he can
After
apply the
90
permit,
days.
and let's go 90 days
Okay.
to give him some time to work on it.
Okay, so
And
we're
we'll
gonna.
revisit it in 90 days.
Okay, so we're gonna
Okay.
apply for a permit 30 days and revisit in 90 days. Okay, thank you, Mr. Alfred.
All right, thank
Could you, I got a question too.
And
Go ahead.
Okay. Is anyone staying inside this house, or is it vacant?
It's vacant.
it's
It's
vacant.
vacant?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have it secured?
Oh, yes, it's secure.
Okay.
No, it ain't got no trash, no nothing coming in and out there. Nothing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I have one more question.
Yes.
So, because I know Mr. Al, he's a very good friend of mine. He's actually my lawn man. He's in my district. I grew up right next to that house, to him, on Field Street, all my life. Almost like a father figure to me. So, my question, I was kind of hearing it, do you want to tear down your house, or do you want to repair your house? It seemed like you were kind of forced into tearing it down, and you didn't give what you want to do. What would you like to do? And I'm just asking that, you're not in my, your house is in my district, but you're in my district, 733 Lombard. So I'm concerned about you, your well-being, financial, your health, and all of those things. Do you want to tear the house down, or you trying to get time to tear it down or to repair it? Because I need you to understand that the city's not telling you have to tear it down. They're not telling you have to tear it down.
Not yet. You could fix it.
You could fix your house. So we want to, I need to know I didn't hear what you wanted to do. I heard people say what they would like you to do without seeing if you can do it or not.
Yeah, well, I could fix the porch, put a new porch on it, put a screen door on it, trying to, paint it and.
Because me and you spoke already. That's why and I didn't hear that here tonight. For me, I saw people come here time and time again with extensions after 90 days because they've done a little bit. And I don't see pushing you in a situation where you're on the demolition list. We don't have the money to tear it down anyway. That's public knowledge. So we need to be trying to work with you to get it fixed.
Well, Mr. Bell said he was going to help me, to face it up.
Well, I want to make it clear that I am not pushing for you to demolition your home, sir. I am your city councilwoman, and I'm not pushing you to demolition it. It is on the demolition list, and I want to work with you to help it. But if you said you were on a fixed income and you didn't know, so that would be my recommendation. But if you want to go another route, I am willing to work with you on it, as Mr. Lewis has suggested. So it's really your decision.
Okay, well, I would like to face it up,
Yes,
Okay.
Jeff.
What are the things that really need to be done?
Right. If you look at it, it's
Electrical,
structural, plumbing,
The roof,
roof.
you see before, on the rear of the house, they had a tree that was on it. Oh, I can't get back. On the back of the house, they had a tree that fell on it, and it knocked the foundation kind of out from underneath it. So he's gonna have to raise it and re-level it.
That's not the right house. That's
No. Oh, see right there, you see how the house is kind of shifted?
Yes.
There was a tree that was on it.
Yes.
And you're gonna see right there where the foundation is knocked out from underneath it. So he's gonna have some structural work that needs to be done. Maintenance, all his maintenance needs to be done. The house probably needs to be repainted too.
So you can bring this
So-
up to code, you believe, Mr. Alford?
I could try, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Mr. Beals, what are your plans to do with the house? Are you plan to just leave it vacant or rent it, or, you know, if you're gonna fix it?
Well, see, that's what I'm saying, you know, I don't have the authority because they got one brother out of 14 of my grandmother's sibling left, and I've been trying to get in touch with him. And you see, said they got one sibling left, I don't have the authority. The only thing I could do is just pay the taxes and keep it up, you know.
And we appreciate you paying this tax.
Yes.
So you actually make the ultimate decision on what would you like to do with this home? You wanna rent it out, you wanna fix it, you want to demolition it, or you have the money to bring it up to code? You have structural damage, maintenance damage, and I think plumbing is also checked off on here as well. I'm just making sure that I'm not trying to put you in debt or any of the such and things like that. So it's actually up to you, and then once you make your decision, then we know how to proceed.
Well, I'm gonna just go ahead and try to tear it down.
Are you sure if that's what you
Yeah,
want to do?
yeah.
And you make your decision based on, if you don't mind sharing with us, because
Let's do this.
We're gonna
Let's give
revisit it.
let's give
We're
him
gonna
a
revisit it
let's
90
give him a
days.
revisit in 90 days, and we
Yes,
can
sir.
see where he's at. And then he's got time to try to get in touch with the family
Okay.
member, and then they
And
can
we'll visit
talk
with him
about
again
it, and we'll
he can
revisit.
decide what he wants to do in the 90 days.
Right.
okay.
And we're gonna help you, my family, we're gonna help you. Let us know when you're ready to do that.
Okay, thank y'all very much.
All right.
Good. Thank you for coming.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
have one
Alfred.
more question, just maybe for clarification. Jimmy, what would you suggest to him would be the thing that you would appreciate them working on first?
Fixing the exterior, getting
When
the
you say the
exterior,
exterior, the foundation?
the foundation and the exterior siding and just the appearance of the exterior. I'm not worried about the inside.
So where it's
Not right
shifted
now.
at, where it's shifted at,
Yeah.
bring the foundation
back.
back
He'd have to
up.
kind of raise it up and get it back on the foundation.
And Jim, now are you worried about what he's gonna do with it once he
Yeah.
get it up to code, right?
Right.
Okay.
Once we get it up.
I just want the people to understand that what the reason for bringing their homes up to code for. He can bring his house up to code and don't have to do nothing with it.
Yeah.
Am
He
I
could
correct?
actually
You don't
do
have
all
to
the
rent it. You don't have to do
exterior. He
anything
could
with
do
it.
all of the
Right.
It's
exterior.
about public
it's-
safety.
We don't want to represent empty lots. None of us do.
Right.
Okay, we want citizens. But he actually could take the house, he could fix the outside, fix all the violations on the outside, and sit on it.
That's right.
We
it.
can't make him do
I have
anything
to
on the
rush
inside. In other words, if you fix the structure on the outside and you make it look good where it's not offensive to any neighbor or any neighborhood and it's safe and it looks good on the outside, we can't tell you what to do with the house or what to do on the inside. So you got some options. I think what we're doing is, it took a lot of discussion and I think that's good. We revisit in 90 days.
Thank you, Mr. Alfred.
Great, thank you.
Since I'm to be helping, would it make sense for him to check the feasibility, what it's gonna cost to do that work?
Right,
Would
well,
it
I
be-
think that's why we're
That's
saying
why,
we
that's why
revisit
we're
in
trying
90
to give
days.
him 90
Yeah.
days to
So
let
we're not
him
making a
make
decision except he's coming back in 90
Yeah,
days.
yeah, yeah.
Just help him see what
Yeah.
the structural
Yeah, I'm
cost
gonna
of
do
Mr.
that.
Right.
Bell. And if in 90 days, if that's something he feels that's out of his realm of possibility, y'all just come back and tell
We
us.
can always,
We got 90 days to make
yeah,
a decision.
no, we got 90 days to make up your mind.
But
Yeah,
y'all
and I
can
only
fix
came
one
up here because
thing.
they called my name.
It's okay.
Put my
It's
name.
okay. It's all right. A little out of order, but it's okay. All right.
Thank you.
All right. So, we have a motion for 90 days?
Motion for 90 days to revisit.
Second.
Second. Councilmember Lopez, please vote your machines. Thank you. Jimmy, next problem.
833 Henshaw. David?
Got a nice old man that used to live.
Wait, do we have anyone here to represent this property? Getting a little ahead of ourselves. Anyone here to represent? Okay, no one. Go, Mr. Broussard.
He used to keep up these properties pretty good, made some good hog cracklings. Nice old man, but I haven't seen that light of day after he died for 7 years, at least 5 years, of anybody occupying except some bad characters. So I hate to say demolition ever, but 90 days,
The letter did go out. It went to Lake Charles and somebody did sign for it. So,
they better come fix it up fast or we're gonna take it down. Busted windows on every window. We need help.
Okay, so that's a motion for 90 days. Do I have a second?
Second.
Great. Second by Councilman Lopez. Please vote your machines. Thank y'all. Next property, Jimmy?
306 Hopkins. Is there anyone here for that property?
Anyone here for 306 Hopkins?
Jimmy, man,
Yes.
Miss Dolores Benoit, she called me on Saturday because she is in my district. She lives in my district, but her property is in your district, Sherry.
That's correct.
Did she call you? I asked her to call you. Yeah. She said she was satisfied with talking to me. I told her our process about giving 90 days, and she said she was all right with getting 90 days. She said she put it in her children's hands, so when y'all give her 90 days, she's gonna be giving her children 90 days.
Okay. That's good. That's my, that was gonna be my
that's her
recommendation.
representation, if that
No, that helps. No, that helps. Okay, well, Councilman Guidry, it's, Sheriff.
I just wondered, does she know what needs to be done? Because it's 90
Yeah.
days to do something.
Yes, she
right?
has to do something. It's
That's a good question.
maintenance,
Should we send her a
structure,
letter?
and plumbing, electrical
Got
work.
it?
Yep.
She said she
What's
also
that?
stated she wanted to sell it. She said she wanted to sell it. So, you know,
Well, so we know she has the letter.
Yeah.
So 90 days. I
think
mean,
we're
if you
giving
get a
her-
letter like that and you don't call Jimmy, hey.
and I told her 90 days because I already knew it was 90 days.
Okay, so,
Your district?
Now, keep in
yes, sir.
mind.
Go
I'm
ahead,
sorry.
let Mr.
No, I was
Wilson-
just saying, all this boarding up and painting she did, that was the first time she was on a demolition a few years ago.
This is the side of the house. right?
No, there's a block structure in the back and there's the wood structure in the front. That's between the two. She needs to clean, a lot of cleaning.
Okay.
Okay, so,
Councilman Guidry, it's in your district.
I wanted to
That's
go
it,
on
that's the
record
house.
stating that she did receive a letter on which date you sent it out, Mr. Jimmy?
April 27th,
April the 27th?
right. It came back unclaimed, but she called
Uh-huh.
and she came into the office and received the letter on June 28th.
And she's basically
She signed
stated
for
on.
it.
that
She signed for the letter.
She signed for the letter. Okay, so we're gonna review it in 90 days,
Right.
is, your recommendations? Okay,
Great. So that's your motion, 90 days. Do I have a second?
that's it.
Councilmember Swear? 90 days, please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Next property, Jimmy.
706 Hopkins. Marlo, this is yours.
Yeah.
This is one we've had a lot of discussions
across from
about.
the one
We had a lot
stop.
of discussions about that.
I got a call from a family member.
Uh-huh.
They have no interest in the home,
Right.
so I don't know what you want to do.
Oh, no, I'm recommending
did.
what you recommend. I mean, you know
Well,
the deal with the house. I don't even
Yeah,
wanna
I mean,
revisit that.
I don't know what to do with it, for, I guess 90 days and then we
You know,
can make a
the
decision.
I'm gonna speak on behalf of Miss Son,
Next door neighbor.
next door, who's trying to develop. I was gonna try to get her to come here tonight, but I said, well, no, we'll give them 90 days. We'll bring her back in 90 days after we talk about it tonight.
Good.
But that house is become
An eyesore.
an eyesore on Hopkins Street on our main corridor. A lot of drug activity, and now the guys are even starting to threaten a lady who developed some houses next door. So she wished the house could be moved because they're getting the opportunity to say, well, this ain't your house. You can't make us move from here. Those type of things are
Yeah.
happening. So,
But that's gonna be a sheriff's
and
issue.
not to mention, every time you gave me those people number, I went and tried to talk to them. Nobody knew nothing. Nobody wanted to know nothing. Nobody wanted to do anything.
Are they paying their taxes?
I don't know that part. They pay
Hang on,
taxes?
hang on. papers in here. It's probably all the way at the bottom. So far, yeah, the taxes have been paid.
Councilman Lopez?
I just have a question. If Jimmy says they're not interested in it, why are we giving them another 90 days? Why don't we put it at the top of the list? I mean,
I would like it at
I'm
the top.
sorry. If it's across from the one side and we have drug problems here, I say put it on top of the list, knock it down, and set the tone. Because if I see one more shooting at my office,
Councilman Lewis, your
I mean, I'm just saying. If they're not interested and nobody's living in there.
I understand.
And nothing
Yeah.
good's coming out of that.
And from my understanding, we have more reasons than that to give 90 days. You know, let me ask this: if we give them 30 days, will it be towed down in 30 days?
I don't have the time to send
You
the letter.
follow what I'm saying?
I don't have the time to send the letter and get it back in 30
Right,
days.
right.
A letter hasn't
And I
been
heard
sent.
that in the previous.
I did send a letter and they didn't sign for it.
On which dates, Mr. Jimmy?
April the 27th, that's when all this started.
April the 27th.
Yeah. And it came back unclaimed, then we sent it to the attorney. And the attorney sent a letter and it came back unclaimed.
That's 90 days.
I say saving their money for their taxes.
The only thing that bothers me having a lengthy discussion with Jimmy, with Freddie about this is that, you know, because these people paying their taxes, you know, and it's like people pushing the city, and we already having money problems. And I don't even like how that sounds, but that's what it is. And you know, we're letting people force the city to do their work for a cost, and we're never gonna recoup that money.
That's right.
That's one of the things that nobody's talking about. To tear it down, where we gonna get the money from? The people paying their taxes, it's still their property. You're not hurting them, you're helping them. Because you're tearing down their clean property. Now their property more value to them. You know.
That goes against
Just-
the
you
tax.
gotta- I know it goes against the tax. I'm trying to learn
can
this.
I weigh
Learn
into
today.
this?
The
Okay.
tear down cost goes to their tax.
Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
that's number
They have
one.
to
Number
pay-
two, one of the big pictures are how we are affecting the neighbors and the adjoining property. Like we had the gentleman come and say, please help me, give me some relief. He didn't own the house, he lived next to it. So we don't all live next to a house that's in that shape. We don't all live next to a house that's affecting us on a day-to-day. So as city government, it's up to us to represent everybody. Well, the process is, of course, we want to save them. If we could tell people to go and fix their house, because I don't want to represent an empty lot, and neither do you. We want citizens, we want taxpayers, we want people with jobs. That's our goal. We can't always accomplish that goal. So by leaving a house that's inflicting itself on the rest of the neighborhood, we're not doing all we can for the other taxpayers.
I'm ready for the house to come down. But let me say this. Let me say this the proper way. We're ready. The citizens of District 2, everybody that passed down Hopper Street is ready. You know, I don't want to sound like other councilmen. I want it down. We want it down. This is a voice of the people. They want it down. We want it down. But I'm hearing we can't afford to tear it down.
We're going to budget, okay? We're going to tear, we have $20,000 to tear houses down right now. Is
We
that
got about
right,
18
Jim?
left.
We got 18 left, okay? We have that. We are going to expend that money, and we are going to tear something down.
Yes.
On the flip side, we're going to budget, okay? We have been selling property. We've been keeping track of what we sell. I know that we have problems overall in all of our city budget, you know, across the board. Money's tight. I plan on, when we present our new budget, to take a portion of the money of
Put in
these
the
properties that
demolition
we're
fund.
selling, okay, and that Civic Source is selling for us. Some of them we're actually making a profit on, paying our taxes, getting a little money in. My suggestion is gonna be coming. It's not an unlimited amount of money, but I'm gonna take some of that pot and say, all right, we got it from adjudicated property. We got it from selling damaged property or property that was inflicting our neighbors. We're gonna take it, and we're gonna put it to good use. We're gonna budget it to demo, and we're gonna tear some more houses down. That's my goal, and we've talked about that. So the point of Civic Source and putting up with selling these adjudicated properties, it's a big process, there's a lot of work on my staff. The point of all this is to generate more funds to tear down more buildings that have to go. Now in the process, if we can make some people save some and put them back in commerce and put them back in use, that's what I really want. But we will have more money, so I don't think we should stop the train and say, we don't have the money, so let's just keep giving people 90 days and not making any decisions. I think that we are priming ourselves to put some teeth behind what we're doing. But I think we need to move forward, and we owe it to the process. We owe it to every house we already tore down. We owe it to everybody who lives next to a piece of junk. Excuse me, a house, a potential house. We owe it to those people to make those investments and to make our system work. Yes?
I want to touch on what Mr. Lewis said because I understand. I understand where you're coming from, and we don't want people to think, well, if you don't tear down your own mess, we're gonna come tear it down for you. I'm with you on that. That's not the message I want to send out. But this house is a special situation. I know exactly what house this is.
Ooh, I'll do.
This and
right.
when it's becoming a danger, when it's becoming a drug house, when it's becoming a
Sit
house
out
that a
there
child
all day.
can get drug into, you know, there's a school on that street. It's a special
Agree.
circumstance.
Agree.
So I mean, do whatever you want. Respect whatever your motion is because this is your district. And, you know, I like when people respect how I feel in my district. But, and this isn't a house where the owner can come take control of what's going on at it. This isn't a house where the sheriff's office can go talk to the owner to get a warrant to go in it because they're probably scared because it's been going on for years now. So at some point, we have to take control of a situation if we have the power to. I mean, it's just, that's just me. It got to go, but that's me.
Any further discussion? Yes.
I have a question.
Sure.
What is the average? I know that a lot of
All
these
right,
houses actually
all right,
have no
the first
asbestos.
thing, if we say to demo that house, the first thing I have to do is a asbestos test.
Okay.
That's $350 right off.
All right.
After that, depending on how the test comes back, I can get prices to demo it. But it depends what that test is gonna say.
Average price with no asbestos.
$3,000-$4,000 maybe.
$4,000 give or
Yeah.
take with no
Yeah.
asbestos.
Right. And see, when I come back with a pot of money, that I didn't say I'm not a leprechaun, it's not this giant pot, but when I come, I know I'm short.
It's a rainbow.
When I come back with that money, then we're gonna decide per district, and it might be that here's the pot of money, we're gonna each pick 2 houses per district that are affecting our citizens the most, that need to come down. But we gotta get them on the list first. If they're
Right,
on the
yeah,
list, we're not doing any good.
The house needs to be roped off.
Oh, I want the house, we want the house tore down. We want the house tore down tomorrow. But like I said, I operate on what I hear.
No, I understand.
You making a motion?
I'm making a motion to demolish the house.
All right, second.
Okay. So we have quickly with, we have a motion by Councilman Lewis and a second by Mayor Pro Tem. Which one it is? Okay, we have any other further discussion? This is to demo, the motion is to demo the house.
Have you given the notice maybe?
Yes, well, that was my next question.
Yeah,
is-
I think so. We've notified them.
So April the 27th was the only day they've been notified, and
No.
plus the attorney?
No,
Okay.
I sent them a letter for the public hearing.
Mandatory public hearing on today. Correct?
Yep, but it came back unclean,
Okay.
okay?
All right, so we've met the legal responsibilities we need to
I think
meet.
so. I'll bring it, before I go for the,
Jeff will review it, I guess.
yeah,
You-
we'll let
since
Jeff
you-
review it.
All right,
like
so
we
we have a
always
motion
do.
and a second to demo. Vote your machines. Thank you. Motion carries. Next property.
514 East Pershing.
You have anyone here, Mr. Jimmy, for that house?
Is anyone here for 514 East Pershing? Yes, we do have someone here. Please state your name and your intentions with the property. Thank you for coming.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Gwen Kelly. I'm a neighbor right to the right of the property, and we've been wanting that done. The people are not living there anymore. I'm not sure exactly where Mrs. Spencer is with her daughter, but she's lived there until the floors were caving in. They had to put her in a nursing home to get her out of the house because she would not leave. But it's a hazard for our property. There's a dog that's there. I'm not sure if the dog is being fed or not. There's bad odor. There's animals. The trees are just growing inside of the house. And it's just not a good picture for us living next to that house. So we're hoping that soon something could be done. I'm not even sure if the house belongs to her. I don't know who does, but they've lived there for years and years. but I'm representing my mother. I live with her, and we certainly would like for you guys to do something in reference to demolition. Thank you.
Thank you, thanks for coming.
Okay, Mr. Jimmy, my understanding is that someone came to,
Yeah, they came to talk to me
right,
Thursday or Friday,
okay,
and they are gonna tear it down. is
okay,
what
so
they
they
told me.
obtained a permit
They'll
from.
come Friday, this coming Friday, to get the demo permit,
Mm-hmm,
and that's what they relayed to me on Thursday or Friday of last week.
okay, and there is a dog there. I walked the
Oh, yeah.
streets yesterday with my big blue hat. I don't know if you saw me. And, I did see the dog there under the tree. He looks hungry. The trees are growing into the house, and there's a lot of neighbors on that street. I took a little survey. At least 15 people want that house tear down, so.
One question. The person that came to you, do you have their name?
It
I
was
know
the
it
owner.
wasn't
the
Spencer's.
owner?
Yeah, it was the Spencer's, the daughter.
Yeah.
Dolores, we have Dolores, yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
the daughter came to see me.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my recommendation is to demo it.
Okay.
You
They're,
said they got- well,
they're
they
tearing
can
it
do
down, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
they're
you get
gonna,
30
they-
days, or whatever you want to do, but we could do less
I
than
could-
90 and keep the pressure on him since he's getting a permit, couldn't
Yeah.
we?
Oh,
Couldn't
right,
we
but
do
it's,
like
but
30
they're gonna
days?
demolish.
Right, but
demolition
we
now,
could
huh?
tell them 30 days we're
Thirty
gonna
days, that way
revisit.
if they don't do it, they
And that
gonna
way if
be
they
on
don't
the
do it,
loop
we keeping the
with
pressure on.
everybody
Oh,
else.
okay.
But we haven't had this, I'm just chiming in because we haven't had this yet.
Yes,
If
sir.
we do 90 days, then that's giving them too long. I would
Okay.
say you do what you want, but a smaller amount of time to keep the pressure on that they actually will go tear it down.
Okay,
So
Thank you.
whatever motion, how much time do you want to give?
30 days, like you said.
Okay, so I have a motion, do I have a
Hang
second?
on.
Second by Councilman
Seven.
Swear. Do we have any further discussion on this? Great, please vote your machines, and let's hope they do it, because that'll
that'll
be
be
a big-
August the 22nd.
Oh,
Good,
August
good.
22nd.
You voted? Great, motion carries.
Swear you didn't
Dustin,
vote. Dustin, you didn't vote?
You want to vote?
I
Now you did.
thought I pulled Mr. Broussard over there.
He's the only man who can vote for vacation. Next item, next house, thank you.
608 Providence. Is there anybody here for 608 Providence?
Anyone here? No.
This is another one. The side of the house is kind of caving in.
Anyone's here,
history?
anyone's here to represent this
No,
home?
no one's here.
Okay, what do you recommend, Mr. Jimmy?
Well, since the last two went the way they went, I like to see people fix houses,
I do too.
but, I haven't heard from anybody in the neighborhood or anything.
You sent a letter out,
Yeah.
on which date, sir?
Yeah, we sent them on the 27th, and the attorney sent a letter.
April the 27th, was it signed or?
Nope, it was returned.
Okay, and did it go to an attorney or?
The first letter
Tried to
I
find these
sent,
people.
I went to California. The address is California.
Mm-hmm,
yeah, Fresno. My letter came back and the attorney's letter came back.
okay.
You know when's the last time it had electricity?
No, but it doesn't have electricity now.
Water,
No water.
no water.
None of the houses have electricity or water.
They paying the taxes?
I think these are. Yeah, the taxes are being paid.
You mean, the address of the tax is being paid or sent is the same address as this?
No, according to the assessor's rule, that's where everything goes, to
This
Fresno.
address?
Yeah,
In Fresno, California?
yep. I take everything off the tax rolls.
So you gonna take a trip, Jim? No, I'm just kidding.
If y'all, yeah, I wanna take a trip. Y'all paying?
Is the house secure?
Yeah.
Can people get in it?
Yeah, the house is pretty much secured. Nobody can, the front door is locked.
That
backside of that house
Let me
is
see.
secure.
Yep. The boards are across all the doors.
Oh, that's the side of the house? That's another house.
The side door is falling off.
Yeah.
If
what
you can
is
see
that
to the
hanging
left
on
side,
the-
that
oh.
door is falling off. I guess that's where they went in and out.
So they're getting in and out of that
Yeah,
house?
whoever's owns it is probably going in and
So
out
it's
there.
not
I
secure?
wouldn't go in and out of that
Right.
door.
Okay.
You wanna try to serve them one more time?
What's your recommendations, Mr. Jimmy?
I would go 90 days and try to serve them one more time.
Your 90 days to serve one more time.
Maybe you can disguise the envelope like they winning a prize.
Or, yeah, send a copy without certified mail,
Yeah.
see if it comes back.
Send it
Regular
both
copy.
ways.
Send a certified mail, send a copy, uncertified.
Regular mail.
Okay, regular mail?
See if
Yes.
that regular mail bounces back.
Okay.
Right, so your recommendation?
Just like he said it, send a certified copy
And give
and
90
a regular copy and 90 days review.
Okay, so we have a motion for 90. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Lopez. Any further discussion? Hearing none, please vote your machines.
Dustin, you voting, baby?
Dust.
Great, thank you. Jimmy, next property.
728 Rosalie.
Is anybody here for that property?
All right, my letter,
Anyone here representing this property? Nope, hearing none.
The house is actually, it's in my district. I know the family, I know Aaron.
that's the back.
Huh?
Is this the inside or
That's the
outside?
back of it?
That's the back of it.
Is this inside?
That's the inside.
Took a shot inside.
So you
That's
made
the
it
inside?
in.
No, I didn't go in. That's through the window.
I was trying to get you, Jim.
Getting creative here.
Unauthorized entry.
Okay.
It looks like you're trying to.
So what's going on with the house?
I really don't know. Everything comes back unclaimed. Now, I haven't sent an attorney to send a letter yet.
Marlon, you got a chance to speak with him?
No, I had a cousin call me, and I'm trying to think if that's one of Miss Minor's houses that was left to her son, Aaron, or to her nephew. Miss Minor just passed away.
Aaron.
Aaron's been taking care of it. I'm trying.
He's the one on the tax roll.
He's on the tax roll?
Yeah.
It looks like it is.
There's electricity in
Miss
the house?
LaDana?
Miss
No.
Janet Minor.
No.
She just died
Right.
last week.
Right.
Aaron
Okay.
was her son.
Okay.
So no electricity,
No water.
Yeah.
None of them got electricity.
no water?
None of them have it.
Any recent work in the house? No?
No.
I mean, I recommend 90 days, and I'll try to get with, I know the family very well. The house look like it's secure.
Yeah.
It look like it's secure, people are not getting in there.
Well,
Well, they,
Well, Jimmy, you take a
I'll show you.
picture inside of it.
See the electrical panel?
Uh-huh.
It's falling off the wall.
Okay,
Clico cut the power at the top.
okay,
So there's no power to the house or anything.
right.
Okay,
But
so
when I say getting in it, I'm talking about to do illegal activities.
Yeah.
is there a door hanging, you said though?
No, not on this one.
Okay.
so you got a motion.
The
for
windows
90
are
days?
broken.
90 days, give me time to get in touch with them and tell them to get in touch with Jimmy and let them know what they gonna, let them tell you what they plan to do. At least you'll be able to tell us in 90 days what they said, and if they don't do it, then we'll
Yeah.
shorten it days.
Okay, so that's a motion for 90 days. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Lopez. Any further discussion? Please vote your machines.
He was on it.
Motion carried. Next house, Jimmy.
803 school.
Anyone here for 803 school?
No, I've been talking to the owner.
Okay.
He's coming in to get a permit to remodel, but he's secured the house. He's boarded all the windows.
Good.
Everything's
That's what we want.
good. I want to remove it. No, Sharon.
Yes. Can we
Motion
move it
to
off the
remove.
demo list?
Yeah.
So we have a motion to move it off the demo list?
Yes.
Second.
Whoa, second by Councilmember Ledbetter. Any discussion? Please vote your machines and y'all just witness a victory. Well, we had a lot of them, but congratulations.
Like
Had a break.
1.5%.
It's okay. Look, I'll take all I can get. Great. Next house.
All right. 817 West Washington was a trailer.
Oh yeah.
The people that started them, to demo, they're coming to get, they didn't get a permit when they started, so we've been talking to them, they're coming in to get a permit this week, and they're gonna finish demoing.
Good.
So I want a motion to revisit in 90. Make sure they finish.
Okay.
And if they not, I can do a junk ordinance, and we can go clean it.
Okay.
Scrap the frame of the trailer and
Okay.
sell it.
Councilman Whippet?
Question for you, Jimmy. The 6 months replacement period for the trailer starts when the demo is completely done?
No, when they get the permit,
It starts when they get the permit to demolish?
right.
So when did they pull the permit to demolish
They're
this?
supposed to be coming in this week.
Okay, please remember for you or Liz to explain to
Oh, yeah,
them
we
that
do.
it's 6 months.
We do.
That's a really good point.
Oh,
All right, I just want to make sure. They know. So, because I didn't know that. It starts from the time you pull the permit.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So 6 months. So if it takes
Yeah,
them
we've
2
already
months
told
to
them
do-
that on the phone.
So they have.
We've already
so
told
they have
them.
6 months if they do it.
That's by ordinance to replace the
Then
trailer.
they can
If
put
they
another
go
one in
more than
place
6
if they do
months,
it.
they
Right.
can't put another trailer back.
When a trailer gets moved off, if you don't
Right.
put one back in 6 months,
That's
that's
the
it. You can
standard.
never put one.
That's the
So I wanted to
standard.
know if the 6 months started from the beginning of this process or when it was
That-
done and everything was off the lot.
That's a trailer that actually burnt,
Okay,
so,
that's fine. Good for them.
okay?
Working on it.
So we have a motion by who?
Motion to, motion to review it in 90 days. And you said that they're gonna get a permit,
Yeah, they should have
Okay.
it finished. If they don't, I'll do a junk ordinance.
and if not, a junk ordinance will be
We'll
enforced.
try to go clean it ourselves and scrap it.
Great. Second by Councilmember Ledbetter. And vote your machines. Great. Motion carries. Thank you. Next property, Jimmy.
Big ones.
Shot Street houses.
Shot Street houses. Do you have anyone here to represent the Shot Street
I was
houses?
about to say.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Mixon.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name's Frank Mixon Jr. I am a soon-to-be owner of part of this property. My father passed away a year ago. We're about to finish the succession, and I got involved. So I'm not technically an owner. However, I got involved in this about 6 weeks ago. My brother Henry, who was working with my uncle to see about demolishing these houses, I didn't know that they were going to be demolished, and they called me, talking about demolishing them. I made the mistake of mentioning it to my wife, and she said, "Well, I want 3 of them instead of demolishing them." So I looked into moving 3 of them onto some property we own where we're building a house, and we are going to move 3 houses on there. But in the process, I contacted the house move, a house mover. That's a lengthy process finding one. I found a house mover that can move them in a relatively short period of time. Some house movers were 6 months out, some were 90 days out, and I got with a house mover who can move them in a relatively short period of time. And he came and looked at them and said, "What are you going to do with the rest of them?" And I said, "Well, we're going to demolish them." And he said, "Well, I would like some of them." So he wants to take some of them to a piece of property he owns just north of Lafayette. Then I get a phone call from someone, and he would like 4 of them. So this other person wants 4 of them. Then another person called, and a farmer called who I'm friends with, and he wants the rest of them.
Rich Southerners.
So instead of putting this in a landfill, we are going to we are in the process of trying to get these moved. the property where I'm moving mine, they are, I've got, there's some, you know, they're all flagged off and exactly where each house is gonna go. I'm just waiting for some dry weather to be able to put a dirt foundation. And as y'all know, I mean, you know, it's raining every 5 minutes. So they're gonna get moved. There's 4 that are not gonna get moved. There are 2 that belongs to a family of Hammond Polk. His house is the corner of Anderson and Mississippi Street, where Mr. Polk's house was, and he inherited 2 from my grandfather, right behind his house. Those 2 houses belong to the Polks, and there are 2 other houses that belong to someone else that are occupied. All 4 of those houses are occupied, so they won't move. The other, I think 16 of them total, are gonna be moved off instead of going to a demolition pile. And the concrete that's in front of each one of them is going to be removed by my family after. So that's the process. We're just waiting on some decent weather to be able to do this. Yes.
Right. The one burnt one's gonna be torn down.
Yes, it'll be torn down.
Okay.
Wait, that's
On Anderson Street.
that's on Anderson Street. Yeah, they're,
Just so they know.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I have a comment and a question. I think this is a really cool idea. On the
Would you
way-
like one?
Just wait, let me get there. On the way to Generate, I can't think of who's
Dewey.
huh?
Dewey.
Yeah.
He's got the shotgun.
They have,
all
I
the way
think, is
around.
it 2?
2.
And they are just adorable. And
Yeah.
I think this is just awesome that that's what you're going to do with them. How big are they?
12 foot by 40 foot.
So, like, how many square feet? I can't add that right now.
480.
500. Oh, yeah. Lord, I need 3.
Tiny
One
house.
for me and one for each child.
Well, actually, what we're doing with these, so we have grandchildren who are getting ready to go to college. And if they want to, they can stay in one as long as they go to college. And then family and friends will, you know, come from out of town for the weekend and stuff like that.
And another question, just so I know, how old are they? Just for history, I'm all into history.
My grandfather built them right after World War II. They first started renting them for $10 a month. And as a child, well, as a young person, I think I was 12, 13, 14 years old, I was painting those houses. And so I've got history with a lot of this. And a lot of sweat equity in it.
You said that you're moving it, where are you moving it to again?
3 of them are going to Broussard.
Oh, Broussard.
2 are going to, 4 are going to Karen Crow. And 4 of them are going just north of Lafayette on University.
And just out of curiosity, if how much are you selling each house?
We're not selling them, we're giving them away.
You're just giving them away?
Yes. It's costing me $4,000 a house to move them to Broussard.
Okay.
It is expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Moving equipment's expensive.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have one more question, Mr. Frank. Once y'all move them off, what are your intentions for the property? Because there's a beautiful tree line there.
The trees will stay there.
But y'all are just gonna keep the property?
I don't know, that that's above my pay grade.
Because that would be a nice place for something.
Oh, it would be a beautiful place for something. Those oak trees were planted there, I think in 1952, 53.
Talk to your family, see how they feel about what Landry walking through Paskin-Bro did.
Well, you know, as a young person, I used to go with my grandmother and collect rent back there. And it was a nice area, it was a clean area. As a young person, I painted houses back there. The problem is that the drug activity is so bad back there that at nighttime it's just terrible. You know, I go there in the morning, I go there noontime, I'll bring my wife there early in the morning, but I won't go there late in the afternoon because it's just an unsafe area.
Right.
And it used to be, I lived in the mobile home park, which is on Mixon Street. I lived in there in 1971 to 74. And it was a nice, clean area. My grandparents took very good care of it. But it's just a sign of the times, you know, nobody cares. They tear up everything.
So if y'all don't do anything with it, just think about us.
Okay.
Yeah.
There actually was a city police substation on the corner, and that didn't last very long.
Right. Actually, we're still cutting the grass on that corner lot.
Oh, really? We'll have to talk about that.
Yeah.
Jeff, you had something?
No, I just wanted to say, yeah, I remember the city police substation.
Okay.
Well, you never know.
You never know. Mr. Lewis?
Well, Mr. Mixon, that's the district that I represent. And,
Yes, sir.
And thank you for coming. Nice meeting you. I also worked with Southern Mutual in the past. They were trying to work to redevelop that area.
Yes.
And we had some hard times working with the Mixon. I'm gonna just be honest.
Oh,
I hear some good things over here, but at the end of the day, we had some hard times trying to work with the Mixon family to try to redevelop that area. Our concern was the school
Yes, sir.
right across the street.
Yes, sir.
From,
Yes, sir.
from the house.
I totally agree with you.
And because I talked to Miss Gwen Pope.
Uh-huh.
I talked to Miss Gwen. I'm friends with the fam.
Yeah.
Scooter just died. They shared with me about the
Scooter and I
houses
grew up together.
Right, that the houses that y'all kind of, your family donated to them or
No,
left to them.
no.
I don't know how to deal with it.
My grandfather, Mr. Polk, was like a stepfather to me. Okay, he and my dad are the same age. We went fishing, hunting together many times. Mr. Polk inherited. My grandfather left 2 of those houses. My grandparents left 2 of those houses to Mr. Polk. Okay, that's how they got there.
But Natalie brought a good point though. My concern also is going forward, and you're right. The neighborhood, with the drugs and stuff like that. But what we're looking for is a partnership, and we're always looking for partnerships. We got the school board, we got the mixers, and we got the community that needs to help to make this thing better. Then they remodeling the houses over in St. Edward subdivision. Seem like they're coming out pretty good. But how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Well, hopefully the next generation is a little bit more receptive.
And that's what it's gonna take for everything. Time changes all things. But I mean, I'm glad to hear that some progress is being made.
Well, there's some interest from some younger people, and you had out-of-town owners, something like the rest of these houses that y'all were looking at, the out-of-town owners, and they get a monthly income off of it, and not willing to invest money to rebuild it. And hopefully the younger generation, which I'm there, will do something. We're very receptive. My first cousin, Art Nixon, CPA, we talk regularly about this, and hopefully we will, get something moving forward. Older people, they get tired. My dad was 86 and just didn't have any interest anymore.
You wasn't worried about the shotgun.
Well, he was
That's okay.
he was more worried about the people than he was the houses. They didn't, the rent on them was $175 a month. So it's not like they were making a fortune at it. They were solid and dry. That's what they were. And for $175 a month, there's not much you can get for that.
Well, I mean, I definitely support the process and giving y'all the time that y'all need to make a difference, to make a change. I support that. I mean, now we're in progress. shorter than that. I mean,
In your 90 days and.
and I'm gonna be honest with you. I heard. Now let me say this. I heard a lady call me from back there yesterday. She said, "Well, they're not cutting up on Short Street. They done moved to Short Murders or something like that. You know." So we got all of those issues. You know. You know what I mean?
Oh, I
So
know.
obviously somebody been putting some pressure on. I think it was the state police. When they came to town, they went directly at Short Street. You know, and for lack of choice of better word, they shut it down. You know, and then y'all doing y'all part. So I'm gonna be honest with you. People always beating people up, but when they try to make a difference, they don't say thanks. So thank y'all for making the progress y'all making.
Thank you.
I agree. Thanks for stepping up, Frank.
Okay.
And I mean, I recommend. What's the most we can recommend? 90 days.
Go 90 days.
Yeah, I recommend
We'll see
90
where they at
days.
in 90 days. Hopefully they'll start moving.
Motion is to revisit.
Hopefully,
the 90
yeah.
days. Great, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Broussard. Further discussion? Hearing none, vote your machines.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you.
Thank you, Frank. Appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, now we need a motion to close this public hearing. Motion by Councilman Ledbetter and second by Councilman Swear. Please vote your machines, I guess. It's closed. Probably didn't have to. I think it's closed.
We good.
It was
All right.
closed already.
I'm always making sure.
It's all right.
Okay, now we move on to item number 9. Madam Clerk.
Items for discussion. Marlon Lewis, discussion with Iberia Parish government for drainage issues and potential intergovernmental agreement.
Okay, I promise I won't be long because we talked a lot about this stuff during the meeting. We discussed some of the things, some of the benefits of this intergovernmental agreement. Parish being able to use our city building in the city. Some of the bigger benefits would be those drainage projects that we have.
Correct.
That's been ripping me a new you know what. My constituents, man, I have 2 areas, man, Sayers Street and Anderson Street, going into one of the nicest subdivisions that I have in my district, over behind Dronet. And these people flood every time it rains. And when it rains a little bit, they're threatened by flood. So I get the call. You know, we're working on something right now to clear up right away so that we can have drainage flowing behind the houses on Zed Street, okay? I'm getting those people to sign over their right-of-way agreement so that we can do work. Mr. Leroy has helped me very good with that. But my understanding is, even after we do all of those things, the main thing is cleaning out the bigger ditches. L2D5.
That's correct.
Correct.
I've been memorizing that.
That's good. That's good.
And also, Almond Co is one of them as well, right? That we're going to eventually have to get to, right? So, I mean, this intergovernmental agreement, that's why when y'all was talking about the slamming, I was like, yo, hold on now. I mean, we're getting a building for some big work. You know, so that's, I just kind of wanted to knock it around the table and see if I was the only district that was dealing with, seems like a holdup. A holdup. And I know the wheels of government turn slow. You know, I know this, but we got to get moving on this because I'm tired of telling people, well, we're waiting on paperwork from legal. These people don't understand that. They've called me, they said, we're going to call KLFY, we're going to down Dalfred, we're going to do this. You know, and I learned this early. All publicity, news media ain't always good, so I told them, I said, look, let me kind of talk to some people, you know, Public Works from our city, Public Works from the parish, UMail, the court,
yes,
and see if we can get this thing moving. And it's coming back to, we're waiting on legal.
Well,
so I need an understanding, a better understanding. I need a time frame of when these people are going to be able to get this, get some relief.
Okay. Well, we have these issues all over town. I'm not making excuses. We're just going to talk globally for a second. Every drainage canal that drains any direction you want to go to in the city of New Iberia goes out to the parish. Okay. We are at the mercy of the outfalls and at the mercy of the tides and at the mercy of every one of those canals that surrounds. If you go to with this website, USGS website, and you put in and you go to the Vermilion Bay gauge, okay, you are going to see the tide charts. You can do a history of the tide chart as long as you want. Back a year, you can do it at the present day, at the present time. When those tides are high, we have no place for our water to drain. If you look when we had the recent Cindy tropical storm, we had no rain in our city. If you look at the pictures, we were right at the crest. If you look at City Park, it was at the top of the boat dock, okay? That's with no rain. If we had had 2 or 3 inches of rain, God forbid if we'd had the rain that they had in Mamou a little further over, we would have flooded worse than we did in August because the water had nowhere to go. So we are at the mercy, and since they told me this, and I look at these tide charts, Leroy and I have made sandbags. I've had some sleepless nights that when I realize that the tides are really high, watching the weather and we have a chance of rain, I know that many areas of our community is under threat to flood. We got to deal with that, okay? We've been having meetings. We've had meetings at the chamber. We've had 4 or 5 sit-down meetings with Larry. I can tell you that parish government is aware. He's mobilized forces on the People's Canal. That's one that drains Lewis Street, Jefferson Terrace, and that end. He's got a plan. I have seen it. We've discussed it. Some of you have attended the chamber meeting that was put on with businesses for drainage. He's got a plan, and he's starting to enact it, okay? So those outfalls are being addressed. Now, there are some times that we don't have an answer. I offered at the last chamber meeting, I've hired Mark Bayrod. We are entering into, and I've added the area behind Drawnets after talking to you, we are entering into a by the hour deal with Mark, and he is analyzing 5 or 6 projects that Leroy and I have identified to where some of them might just be sizing the pipe for us. Some of it is trying to find a right of way or obtain a right of way, which you're helping with one. Dustin's helping with one. You know, as they come up in the district, Natalie has one. She's trying to get some right of ways on. We've got one in Catholic High. We are working to obtain right of ways to be able to go to work. And there are some areas that we can relieve fairly quickly. There are some that are going to be a bigger picture and a much longer time frame. But we're working on those. We're addressing those issues one at a time. I offered, and there's kicking around an idea that actually Mr. Leroy had. He's got almost, I don't know how many years experience, but he's got a ton of experience with our drainage throughout our whole path, okay? There might be a time that we put a pump somewhere along the People's Canal that pumps into the commercial canal that relieves that pressure to let some of that water get out of town. I would be willing to partner with some of the mosquito money that I got from the parish and say either don't give me as much next year or here's my portion and, you know, let's put a pump if that is a real solution. It's got to be proven that it's a valid solution. So we're looking at it. We have a lot of issues that have not been addressed. Many of these flooding issues have been occurring for a long time. You know, my whole background is construction. I want to address those. I believe in infrastructure. I think that we have put off things and we can't put them off anymore, and we need to spend money on infrastructure. Drainage is one of, we have businesses that flood, we have homes that flood, we have people who live in constant fear when they watch the weather. We give out thousands of sandbags. If you figure the cost of a sandbag, it's not cheap. No. We give those out as a service. We fill them the first day, and now the second day, people will be filling them. The sheriff was very gracious in sending us some trustees over a couple of these rain events, which have helped. But we're spending a ton of money on sandbags. I don't want to spend money on sandbags. I want to spend money on solutions. We are working toward that. I can tell you that we're kicking around not only one intergovernmental agreement, we're kind of looking at if we can come up with it, a boilerplate one that would allow the parish and the city to go back and forth and not need an agreement for every single ditch, to where we could be flexible. Larry and I have thought of some creative ideas. I'll tell you one that's Catholic High. We're waiting for a right-of-way. We, as the city, will go and clean this ditch on the side of Catholic High, which is in the parish. It's on the parish line, but it's technically in the parish. We'll have an intergovernmental agreement. We'll clean that ditch. In return, Larry's going to send a long-reach excavator and clean those ditches in Squirrel Run that have been neglected. Okay? So that's one that we're trading back and forth. It hasn't happened yet. We are working on it. But Larry and I's idea, if you look at the dog, I know I'm bringing the dog catcher up, but that's our latest one. We're looking at partnering on a dog catcher. The sheriff was gracious enough to give me the truck. So we now have a truck. The truck has 4 doors. And one door is going to have a city emblem. The other one's going to have a parish. And on the back of the truck, it's going to say your tax dollars cooperate. This is the first rolling example of what we're going to do together. But those things do take a little while. Jeff is working from our end, and then the parish has their attorneys. I am looking to get things moving as well, as is Larry. We talk about it. It is a process. If you look how long it took tonight, okay, just to get where they could use the building. Right. Look at how much discussion we had, just on one issue. We must have spent a half hour on it. When you start talking about easements and drainage and equipment and bigger dollars, it's going to take a little while. But as soon as we get that and we have a proven boilerplate example, I think that then we can speed it up. So I want to make us being new, we all been here 7 months, we're addressing some issues that are years old. You go and ask these people, because I do, how long has it flooded here? How long have you had an issue? Oh, we have some new ones that are a few years old that I can't figure out. But we sure have a lot of them that it's been flooding for a long time. So we're addressing these issues one at a time. I can tell you that Jeff's working on it, as is Larry's legal, and I'm doing everything I can to move the ball forward and to show our citizens that, one, we care, and number two, that we are working toward these issues. So I can tell you that I'm glad you put it on the agenda. It's something we do need to talk about, but you know, a lot of things are in the works that are going to begin this partnership. And this is new. I mean, pat yourself on the back, because we haven't had councils and parish presidents and parish council people who have worked this closely together.
And city council.
And city council, yeah, all of us. So it is some new territory. But I think that in the end, the taxpayers are going to benefit from our efforts. It is taking a little while. I ask them to be patient because the results are going to be there. I mean, the efforts, the fruit's coming.
And that's where I'm at. In summary for me is, people really just want to see us working. And a lot of people don't understand the language we're talking tonight. They want to see some excavators moving. They want to see some debris being moved. And that's where, for me, giving them a time frame is so important. Because a lot of these people been in their homes for several years. And I'm talking about 20 years.
Yeah.
Residents and stuff like that. So, you know, and like you said, some of the problems are new. You know,
Some are new and some are really old.
They wasn't always flooding like that. But, you know, that's where I'm at with it.
I understand.
That's why I wanted to put it on the agenda.
I think moving forward, you'll see some progress, and I think it will be fairly quick. Can I give you an exact date of those agreements will be done and signed by X? I can't. I can tell you I'll keep the pressure on, and you keep the pressure on me, and we keep communicating, and, you know, I think we're working toward solutions. On both ends of this, you know, like I said, I have nothing but compliments for the parish president, nothing but compliments for the parish council and their team. I mean, I talk to Herman, their director of public works, pretty often. I mean, basically, we are all working together towards finding these solutions. And I can tell you that that's not political rhetoric, it's happening. Great. Thank you. Let's go. We have a lot of hands up. I'll just come around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, are you done?
No, I'm done. I was
Okay,
gonna say
awesome.
that.
Well, I'm gonna go around the table. We got a lot of people. Mr. Broussard.
3 months ago,
Natalie, did you have something? I'm sorry, I skipped you. Did you have something?
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Okay.
I
Okay, I just-
understand. I mean, I'll comment, whatever. I mean,
Okay,
I understand.
we'll go around the table. You go. I don't want to leave anybody
But I
out.
understand Mr. Lewis's frustration. I get it. I was the same way. I'm like OCD, and I want it not now. I want it yesterday. You know, that's always my motto. That's how I was taught by my boss. But you know, it's like I look at Daspit Road. It's like when I came up with the idea to do it, and then I had to get it passed, and then go to the parish government and get that passed, and then get it bid, and then they want to change the amount, and it does. It takes forever. But when it happens, it's there, and your people are not gonna forget. They're not gonna think any less of you if it took 5 months longer. Because I tell you what, if somebody's about to fix my car, I want them to take their time before I want them to just to grab the battery out and throw another battery in. It's the truth. And the other thing I see now that I didn't see my first 4 years, and that was very discouraging, is that we are way more involved in the decision-making process, and that is way more enjoyable compared to some of the frustration I've experienced. So, you know, in between Larry and Freddie, I feel like while I'm a big power to the women person, I feel that Freddie and Larry are on it when it comes to running their departments and making sure what we want is gonna get done. So I'm good.
Mr. Broussard, thanks for being patient. Go.
It's so very important to get some of the state leaders down here and hear our troubles. Sean Wilson, DOTD, Secretary of DOTD. Been doing it for 18 years. 3 months ago, I started asking him to come to our city council meeting he can come to. Corner him. Put our problems right there on his head. Admiral Dahl. That's why I called him 3 months ago. We're flooding every week on Admiral Dahl. Julia Street, can't pass. Hardest. So we getting the man over here. Y'all have any problems? When we do get him over here, we better hit him on the head hard and see if he brings it back to his state and get it done. Mr. Leroy, that big truck, that big suction truck you got, it did an impressive job on Eden Street, sitting there with your two good workers now, with a $2 piece of pipe, reached in that gutter. I was in there 3 hours. We finally dug in that drain and opened that thing up in 10 minutes at 2 foot of water. Cars couldn't pass on Eden Street from Dig to the church. And that $2 piece of pipe drained it. When I left there, I talked to everybody on that street. You know what your problem was? Stopping the drain up with all your trash. I had 3 or 4 people walking that street before I left, cleaning up the street. I said, it's not just one time. Y'all adopt the street, pick up the trash. It'll help a lot. So I want to thank you, Leroy. I forgot the boys' names, but we were in the rain for 3 hours, getting it done. Boy, they were all calling like you did. I'm going to threaten you, we all voted for you, and everything else, and all that criminal. I mean, throwing me away. When we finished, everyone missed a Broussard. We never seen somebody come over here and get it done so fast. Great. That's how I feel. Leroy, thank you a lot.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard.
I don't know if I can follow that. But,
I don't think so.
What's out there?
you know, I've been up here much longer than anyone been up here all these years. And I can tell you,
Praise God.
I never saw so much communication. I would have a couple of those meetings with Freddie and Leroy. And you know what we have? We had, the other day, you had the past parish president, Craig Romero there, that called in some people. Leroy was there, worked for the city and the parish. He knows those canals
he
better
does.
than the map knows the
He does.
canals.
He does.
You had Freddie, you had people all in one room, and it never happened. And it was big. I know, because everyone had understood what happened. Craig Romero was parish president. He had these problems way back when. But you never had everybody. Look, I'm not throwing no one under the bus, but in the past, people would say, it's not my problem, it's not in the city. It's not my problem, it's in the parish. And this is big. I know people can't appreciate it, but in that room the other day, everyone that was there, that was pretty big. And you know what? It's not just having a meeting. They had people there with solutions. That never happens. You have a meeting, oh, let's get it over with, we just heard from them. But they had solutions, talking about the dam, talking about the pump. Craig brought that guy, I forgot his name, that was there about.
The presentation.
The presentation was great. Leroy, the parish was asking Leroy questions about the parish.
Yeah, we're all in this together.
So I think we got an opportunity here, and we can't lose it. Because, you know, Leroy's not getting no younger. We got to suck everything we can from him and use it.
I'm not getting any older.
Yeah.
He might
I'm telling you.
Leroy's gonna outlast all of us.
But I really believe, I think, Mr. Lewis, I appreciate what he's bringing up, but a lot of things are happening. And like you said, you got to take advantage of the situation, but things are happening. The parish president got stuff right now back there cleaning up that canal, moved it from another location and made a commitment to that. But now you're having people communicate. And it's never fast enough, but it's major. I'm really, I know I had not much communication the last few years up here, so it's big to me, but you know what, everyone benefits, everyone, no matter where you're from. And I want to thank you, Freddie, and thank Larry, and thank Craig Romero. I just can't believe the port director's there helping us with drainage that really just helps the whole.
It starts raining and Craig calls me and he starts at the port and I start in town and we meet in the middle and check every drain all the way out and we compare notes. That's probably has never happened before.
And what else you had? You had business owners. That's the same business owners who's been here for years are involved in it. And I'm gonna tell you, I think by the end of this year, you're gonna see a progress that you can look and see the dirt and see the trucks that we never seen in the past. But it's all about communication. That's something that this council has, that council has, and the leaders have that we didn't have in the past. I'm gonna just be honest, because that's what it was about. It wasn't about not trying to help the people, it's what people you're trying to help. But I want to thank y'all and thank Freddie for including me in all these meetings, because it is something that never has been done, and I represent everybody just like he does. And I feel like every district is important, you know, and we can't pick. We got to do what we can to help everybody. So
I know we're going around, Councilman, thank you. I'm adding one more thing. Chuck is writing a program that is going to, we have over 2,000 drains in our city, 2,000 street drains. He's writing a program right now per district, dividing each district, where as Leroy cleans the drains, they do a work order, it goes to the computer program, we know what drains were clean and when they were clean. We're gonna make each district, we're gonna finish through the whole city, and then we're gonna turn around and be able to do it again. So that's something that's really gonna help with drainage. If you look right now, it's not too pretty. We're gonna
We
clean
might
that
put a little
up.
better writing
Yeah,
on
yeah,
it.
They're spray painting the top of the drain right now, the dates. It's not pretty, but it's effective. But as soon as I get my computer program up and running, we won't have to put the dates on the top of the drain. So I had a couple of, it's kind of unsightly. But that program's coming, and I'm gonna be quiet after this. But with that same program, we're gonna be able to track our street lights. We are working on grass cutting. We're gonna come up with a circuit of how we cut the grass more efficiently. Anything I can do through that GIS system, I found it. It was sitting there. Other people knew it was here, but I didn't. We are putting it to work. So, but concerning drainage, we are actually in the process. Chuck brought me kind of the rough of it today. It functions. It works. He's working on it per district. That is going to greatly help Leroy to keep track on the maintenance, and that we are keeping tabs and know that at any given time where we've cleaned drains. Anyway, next.
Well, I was at the meeting last week.
Yes, ma'am.
And it was very informative, and I do have to say that our parish president and our mayor are working together. The councils are, both councils are too, because we had some parish council members present.
Sure.
And it was nice to know that Councilwoman Natalie Broussard had, she had kind of put in a project in my district in the city, you know, and that's her parish district, and they're gonna do that too. So Jefferson Terrace and Lewis Street is gonna be done. So hopefully that'll alleviate some of the drainage problems there by cleaning out those canals. So I was really excited about that. And citizens, our community people, do not get upset when they close down Lewis Street when they're doing the drainage, because it's gonna be helpful. You know, it's gonna be from past, what is that, by where you live in that subdivision. Yeah. Past, yeah, going to the highway,
Yeah,
right,
yes,
when they
yes.
close that to clean out the drain, the ditch,
right.
the canals there. So we're working together and we're gonna get it done.
Thank you.
Mayor, you answered all my questions that I had listed on my paper. I just want to let you know. So I'm gonna just skip all the rest. I try not to ask hard questions, but the grid or the GIS that you spoke about in the meeting at the Chamber of Commerce that day for the drainage meeting, although the drains that are marked, are they just a problem? Or the challenge drains, or are we actually gonna have every single drain?
Every drain, there's over 2,000 drains. I'm not saying that this
In the
is
city.
totally up to date. We are making sure we will know
Right.
as we use it if there are some drains that were added. But it maps over 2,000 drains.
That's
So
what I
basically
thought
it's a
I
maintenance
heard.
program for all of our drains.
Okay, and so what happens is, and I'm gonna go back to Mr. Marlin, is what happens is, once this system is developed, you will be able to, we can identify drains quicker, we can call it in quicker, we can give a better explanation to our constituents that we represent, and this is gonna be so vital to what we're trying to do with this intergovernment agreement. That's what I wanted to encourage him about. And if you don't mind, I don't know if it's finished or not, Mayor, sir, if you mind, do you mind if I have a copy of this particular grid that you held up at the drainage meeting? Because I thought it was interesting, and the parish has this same particular GIS system, but on the canals, I think it is. And I just don't understand why we just not knowing about it for the city, or why it has not been operated as such or numbered all this time.
In all fairness, it has in the past. It really, two of our departments use it. Vince
Okay.
uses it at the sewer department, and
Okay.
Jane uses it with planning and zoning.
Mhm.
So it's not totally dormant.
Okay.
We just hadn't made it do other functions, and it's kind of been
That's
sitting
okay.
there. So thank God we have it. Thank
That's
God
right.
for whoever paid for that and set it up. I I mean, I think it's a worthwhile system.
So
and
if we have it in our packets,
Probably.
and things like that with an explanation, it actually has the streets as well?
It has the streets and the drain number.
So Marlon, that'll be easier for you to call in drain number 10, street such and such,
Yeah,
and
at some
whatever,
point,
and
that's-
you can explain it better
We're a
to your
little ways off, but
constituents.
that's what's coming.
Usually I get some
Yeah.
computer training, but after I do that, I'll.
Well, we'll be able to print it out. In other words, what we're gonna be able to
Right,
do
it's
at
gonna
some
be a
point is
printout.
print out, I'll give you each a copy of the map. Once we've got it a little further developed, it's on the city map by district. My plan is to divide it per district and give each one of you a packet. And what I'm planning is, I'm gonna put y'all to work. You're gonna help me with the street light. We pay for those street lights whether they on or off. So per district, once I have the street lights identified, it's gonna be, here's your packet, and if you see any street lights out, mark them. You'll have a number to refer to them. It's just gonna
Drain
make,
number.
you know, we're gonna work off addresses and the maps and the numbers on the GIS system. It's just gonna make us more efficient in turning stuff into Hillary, and she's tracking it. We've added, if you look on your desk, we're tracking the problems that you call in and giving you now. Had a discussion with Natalie, she brought up some really good ideas. So now we're tracking and giving you solutions or when these items were handled. So we're starting to do a little program for that as well, so that you'll know when you call something in, when we address it.
Also too, it's gonna help with the time frame, Marlon, is what I wanted to get across to you. But going back to the intergovernmental agreement contract, has that been drawn up yet by Mr. Andy Shilley and Mr. City Attorney Jeff Simon?
Andy's working on it
Mm-hmm,
and called me about it today.
okay,
I have not seen it yet,
okay,
but I should have it pretty shortly.
okay,
But we did speak about it today. He called.
okay. That's awesome. That means it's on the move. So in lieu of the parish and the city, so, now will it have, now this particular contract, will the council, get a copy of this contract, or we'll be able to vote on this contract, or how's
Oh,
this
you
gonna
vote on
go?
it. No, it's like every other intergovernmental.
It's gonna be a
agreement.
resolution, that type of
It's gonna
stuff?
be coming to you, and y'all are gonna look at it and have some input. and-
Okay.
Yes, Jack?
All right, and my next question real quickly, is, whenever, this takes place, so every time there's a problem or in a government agreement, to be, done or used, do we have to, by law, do we have to keep reissuing it or you understand what I'm saying?
Trying to make
Reusing
one
it,
that we can
for the work that's
year.
to be performed per location, per whatever?
Right.
Or are we gonna be informed in our district whenever this intergovernment agreement is taking place every time?
I guess you could, I hadn't thought of that. I mean, basically, it's gonna be an agreement that we can use over and over for a year concerning different ditches, different drains. I mean, you know about the problems, because in most instances, y'all have turned it in.
Absolutely.
And then, now, the way we have the little check system now that reports back, you'll know when we're dealing with it. So yeah, you will get an answer.
Okay, and the liabilities, have we worked that out on the intergovernment
I
agreement?
totally trust both our attorneys that we will work them out, and we have
Mr.
liabilities
Jeff
every day.
Simon, did we
Yeah,
work that
I
out?
don't have it yet.
Okay,
I don't have it yet, but the
Okay.
idea that they're working on is,
okay,
instead of having an agreement every time you have a project,
Right.
you have an agreement that sets out a way for the city and the parish to trade services and equipment
yes, sir.
and things like that.
Excavators.
So, once you put that in place, and this council votes and the other council votes, then, the parish president, the mayor can, direct this project to be done this way and this project to be done that way.
Yes, sir.
So, it's a general agreement that's gonna cover a lot of different individual projects with a process to trade services and labor.
Sweet, that's all my
We didn't have
questions.
something
Thank
sort
you.
of like that with
Thank you.
the mosquito control contract way back when, where the parish could come in and do drainage and all that. We wouldn't, I think it was a blanket intergovernmental agreement.
With that,
Well, I mean, in general, the mosquito control money went to the parish.
Right.
And then the parish
Did the
work,
project and then gave.
And then gave the
Right.
city the excess.
Correct.
So it really wasn't an intergovernmental agreement, they drove, they were in charge.
Yeah.
Now we're working together.
Yeah, but now we have some resources that we control, they have some things they control.
Right.
And we're trying to figure out how to use their stuff in our areas and our stuff in their areas
Yeah.
to be efficient.
Correct.
And legal.
And if they're gonna call Dalford and stuff like that, just don't worry about all that. Just tell me we working on it.
Oh, no,
You
it
know?
was on my side. I was trying to protect some other people.
That's all right. That's all right. They say that all the time. Don't worry about it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Just don't worry about that. Do your best.
Councilman.
The best for last.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Best for last. We have one more discussion item, but best for last on this.
I understand. No, what I'm trying to get at, intergovernmental agreements, they're helpful, and I'm not this is my opinion, I'm not a consolidation type of person.
Me neither.
And doing these agreements like this way, I think we're getting a lot accomplished, and we're going in that direction. So that's what I'm gonna say on that. As far as drainage goes, you had a great point. Back in August, I'm not sure exactly what the date was, but they had the 13.54 inches of rain with no tide, no raise on the tide. 2 days later, that's when we had 4 feet of tide. So we actually got pretty lucky. We had a lot of rainfall, but if we got the tide that we projected 2 days later, it'd have been a lot worse.
Oh, yeah.
So same thing would happen with Cindy. I think with Cindy, I got more calls from a pig in my district than
I was
actually.
a pig.
He was in my front yard
Yeah.
with that.
Well, thank God the pig's going now because we can get past that. You know, we got more calls on that than we did for Tropical Storm Cindy. But what I'm getting at is that all the water, like you said, the water that comes out of the city goes straight into the parish. It goes out to those canals. And what we're fighting with is Mother Nature. When you're fighting with tide, there's nothing really can be done. But, but with these agreements like this, I'm thankful for them and thankful that they're coming to the table too. And we're getting things done. So that's all I have to say on that.
Great. Thank you. Now we move on to item for discussion 9B. Madam Clerk?
Sherry Guidry, discussion on the lack of activities that are not present at the moment for teenagers.
Wow, I'm up already?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna make it short. Okay. I want to address this issue to the Honorable Mayor Freddie DeCourt and our distinguished council members. That includes you, Natalie, over there. How you doing? And the viewing audience and the precious people of the city of New Iberia and the parish. I want to thank our mayor for his continuous labor in lieu of bringing in and attracting new developers to our city. Every time you turn around, you see a new building going up on a different street. I'm excited to see that and so many buildings and projects being erected. Therefore, this will help build up and improve our infrastructure, economic development, and jobs and confidence in our residents, letting them know that we're getting to work. However, you all know that we just took office, and when we took office, we hit the ground running, and we had things to undertake, such as complex issues, such as law enforcement, negotiations, drainage issues, which we still talking about, blighted properties, shootings, budget amendments, and so forth and so on, and are still addressing our constituents' needs. However, many of you know I've partnered with many organizations, and I'm going to just skip them all for the sake of time, concerning the youth. But my favorite one is the school board office and the pastors and so forth and so on. But the list goes on and on. But I'm here tonight because of great concern from my constituents that I've been getting a lot of calls about, and even as I'm also walking and dealing with the concerns, like I was out there the other day with my hat and stuff, they're still asking me about things for our youth in this city. These other entities are all great. I represent a lot of people and a diverse set of people. Mayor and city council, I'm just asking for some feedback because something is missing. I was supposed to bring you the posters that I actually got from the 6th graders and the high schoolers, and they came up with some awesome ideas. If I had money, I would build it, but I know we don't have a lot of money to build a lot of things. But it was just the fact that the way their minds work. When I was on tour, I believe that there's a gap in between the 16 and 17-year-old, 16 to 18-year-olds, and allegedly, and if you think about it, that's some of the ones that may be committing a lot of the crimes here in New Iberia. So I'm asking the mayor and the council, and the parents and the grandparents in my district and in all the districts, to understand that we need to get the economy moving, we need to improve infrastructure, get a handle on our safety for our citizens, but I also believe by many that there's a big gap missing in our budget process or thought process when it comes down to things for our youth and to move our city forward. I have ideas, but I want to hear from my colleagues tonight and get feedback on what they see in their district and from hearing from parents and teenagers. I know we can't fix everything and everybody and all the problems in this age group, but we can do something for our next generational leaders. So again, I'm just asking, Mayor, I don't know if anyone have approached you yet, as far as discussing new development concerning family or youth-oriented type fun things for our city is needed. I gotta tell you, I have to drive my teenagers all the way to Lafayette and beyond for them to be able to enjoy. But I prefer to leave my local dollars here in the city of New Iberia. So I'm just asking, I'm saying, Mayor, that you are doing a great job. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I would like to know, if you do have some that are interested in coming here. And also too, I want to hear from my constituents, from my colleagues as well. And thank y'all for listening.
Great. Thank you. All right.
If we can go around the table.
I have just a couple of things I'll put up. First place I think we could reach out to, definitely that could be revamped, or kids night that would be easy, that wouldn't be too crazy, is the bowling alley.
Mm-hmm.
I think that we could utilize that a lot better. I had 3 things, and Lord, I forgot one. Oh, another thing, I was talking to somebody who does a lot of business with the city the other day about the mayor's after school program, and
that's been cut out.
That's been cut out. But I don't think that the city ever really should have exhausted that much into it whenever we couldn't get with the school board. I'm gonna be honest, like my son goes to aftercare at school and it's $15 a week, which is really cheap. It's $60 a month. But if we could partner up with the people who sponsored the Mayor's After School program to maybe sponsor children to go to aftercare, and maybe get with some teachers or some people who were involved in that who can help with volunteering, because they don't do homework anymore. Like, they'll tell your child to go sit down and do the homework, but it's not their responsibility to make sure your child has done the homework.
Well,
so
I make sure they do their homework if they sitting at my table.
But I'm saying, maybe if we could take some things that the Mayor's After School program had, get with the school board, get with some local sponsors, and sponsor some, children of, your parents have to work. Like, if your parents don't work, you're not going to get a sponsorship to go to aftercare. But if, if the parents can provide that they work so this and this time, we could come up with something.
And what do you think about the existing buildings that we have here that's already in the city of New Iberia that's just sitting there doing nothing?
I think it costs a lot to run them. I mean, I'm on the board for the Boys and Girls Association, and it costs a lot to run them, and everybody is struggling. So that's what I'm saying. You would exhaust way less resources if we got with the teachers who helped out with the after school program, got with the school board, and got with the people who sponsored it.
Okay, now listen, we're talking about the ages of 16 to 18.
Oh,
because remember,
that was my third thing I had.
Because remember, the younger kids are pretty much taken care of. They got vacation Bible school, they got churches, they got organized sports, and they got all kinds of other different activities for the younger kids. But I think the lost generation, but that gap between 16 and 18 is kind of,
my suggestion
so I don't know about the after school
would be,
program.
like I said, the bowling alley.
Yeah, that's
getting
good.
in touch with the people who run the movie, see how things are going there, see what we can do better as a city to help keep the movie situation under control on the weekend nights and in the summer. And the third thing, that's what I wanted to mention that I forgot. Larry Miller, who owns all the McDonald's in town, that lives in my district, he had bought the Aquaterra building, which was like a Walmart 5,000 years ago. And he was it Lowe's?
Lowe's.
Walmart was here.
It was Lowe's.
Okay,
On the
sorry.
opposite side.
I know the building.
But the Aquaterra building, Mr. Larry bought that, and he's really involved in his kids' sports. His son's like a really good baseball player or whatever. And he's got batting cages for Catholic Heart to play, to go practice. And now he's renting them out. So that was something really cool that I didn't even know about. Like my son and them were like, they going to do batting cages. Mom, can I have some money to go do batting cages? Yes, go. That's something for a 6-year-old to an 18-year-old.
Right.
So, you know, and Larry gives back to the community.
He does. He does.
All the time.
He does.
So if we get hooked up with him, he would definitely do some events and some things, and it'll help promote what he has going on. Because I know Larry, if we help him get it going, he's just gonna make it better and better. He is a succeeder. That is what he does.
Right.
Good.
Well,
Yeah, okay. We can, I mean, I guess, you know.
No, I pretty much heard everything everybody said. I agree with everything. You know, I own a barber shop, and you know, Sherry said 16, 18. I see ages 13, actually ages 12. Because if you look at the summer programs, all of them are from ages 6 to maybe 12. It's that 13 to 18 to 19 that really don't have a whole lot to do. We discussed that friends of mine from Omega Sci-Fi and a couple other fraternities that's very interested in doing something for those youth, because that's where our problems are in the African American community for sure, where we have a lot of kids that don't have a lot of stuff to do. And you know, sound like I heard Miss Gidrich, you know, talking about going to Lafayette, you know, to attend like maybe some of the I don't know, go-kart ranch and places like that, Sky Zone and stuff like that.
Example.
And the reason why I thought about that, because she complimented you on you bringing some businesses to town, and I would encourage you to look at doing some of those, you know, entertaining deals, you know. But again, man, for me, growing up in the 80s when they had the summer program, JCPA Manpower, and I get asked that question almost every day by people who know me and know I'm on city council and what have you. Why did they get rid of JTPA summer program?
Yeah.
Because I worked that program for 4 or 5 years,
We
and it
utilize
kept
that
us
in my
out of
business.
trouble.
We utilize that in my business.
It kept us out of trouble, man. It kept us busy. So, you know, things like that, I would like to see something like that come back, you know, to keep the kids occupied. And then something like you're saying, go-kart ranch, Sky Zone, those things, you know. And then when I was coming up, they also had arcades, Teen Generation, all the places, man. We had places to go, man. And now it's like they don't have a whole lot to do.
They stand in the store corners, the corners, the
and
stores.
that's true though, and it's definitely an epidemic. Our 13 to 18-year-old kids are hanging at the bar, on the corners. And they're learning how to be drug dealers and every other unproductive thing in our community. And I tell them at the barbershop when parents drop their kids off, I say they can stay here as long as they want. Because this is one of the most positive places in the community, you know. And we're talking about positive things, but we only have enough room for so many things. But I really would like to see more things for these kids to not just be a part of, like JTPA has employment goals, but be able to enjoy, you know, spend their little money, hard-earned money with their jobs, you know, like a fun jump place or Sky Zone rather.
Okay.
You know, that's my thoughts on it. She's on the right track with that.
Good. Natalie, you had one other?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just
It's okay.
it came to me because it's the parish and it's free. I say it's free. I guess it'd be up to Larry if it was free. But I don't know how many of you know, but Generat has their rec center, and it used to be like a skating rink. Do y'all know that? And that they still have all the skates. Like you still can go to Generat and have a skate party, and that's the 4-wheel skates. But like our kids these days, like everything's no. But like we're in one of these transition periods right now where everything's coming back, and the kids are all about like the throwback stuff and the Adidas and like, you know, the 80s stuff. No, it's coming back. But they have all the skates, and I bet you could find out that they don't even use half of it, and half of it could probably be brought to the West End.
There you go. Also, I think that's a great idea, and I think also existing, I know Parks and Recreation is busy. I know they've booked solid a lot of times, but even if we moved around events, you know, quarterly or something to that nature, from the West End to the City Park, back to the West End to the City Park, or what have you, or any existing park and recreation building that we can use for our youth, for the entire Iberia parish. It could be in a government agreement between the city and the parish. Whatever building we can use, because there's a major gap right there.
You mentioned City Park. We have to give projects, even the DARE program when they're young. We're missing the DARE program. It was taken away from us. Every other parish has it. Let them grow up through no drugs. Okay? In City Park, let's have a year-round basketball. When they're 16, 18 years old, they need to be mentors to the young ones. Let them hang around in them places. Teach the young ones is good. But until we do that, get them back on track, and I know it costs. That's why they took the DARE program away. I think it's instrumental that we try to get that back started. Businesses, schools, school board, everybody can pitch in. I think it's a main artery to teach them when they're young. Get this going.
Dare could operate probably with, like, hand in hand with Crime Stoppers if we all put in.
Right. Great. Okay.
Yeah, you know, what I remember way back when, that the city at one time used to have those things for the older kids, the skating, the archery,
ring.
the I remember the
favorite.
Summer
skating.
camp.
I would hold on because I couldn't skate, but basketball, they even had boxing for that thing. And some reason back then, I remember the city hiring more and more younger kids for the programs, and that for some reason where it went away, I don't know what. But at one time, even the parish came to us and wanted to help us with the after daycare program, and the administration said no.
Well, there's
So-
summer camps doing
But,
great.
but you know, the thing is, we have an opportunity, but what happened to the programs? I don't know if it's a budget thing or just something they didn't want to do, but that skating in the park, that was
That was
crazy.
fun.
And they had boxing, but some, for the older kids, the 16, 17-year-olds, it was a totally different activity for those kids. And I don't know what happened, but I just see the cost not being the thing. Staffing it
Is
might
that
be.
gonna cost us a lot, excuse me, Mayor, Honorable Mayor? Is that gonna cost us a lot if we?
I'll make a list,
okay,
I'm gonna go last.
Okay, all right, okay.
I'm gonna go.
No, but you know, just
That's
like.
a good idea.
Yeah.
Just like you have the people in West End that's doing it right now. You got other people that would like to have these programs, but you have to offer it and show them that we want to be part of it. Because I don't think it's all really about money. It's about starting a program. Look at the museum. Look at the money these people are doing for something they believe in. And I think they got the people out there want to be involved, but you have to make it where it's easy for them to be involved. And I think you're right, because you know, you see more kids 16, 17 years old, 15 years old on the streets now that you ever seen. And something now is that parents, if they have two parents, that's rare, but they both working.
Yeah.
And you know what? So it's something I think we have to look at. And I'm glad you brought it up. But it's something that we need to get the parish part of again. They got they got Willowwood. They got
Well, I'd be
places.
interested to see if if the summer camp is breaking even.
You know.
Because that's what they do it for. They don't do it to make money.
Yeah, if you break even, that's a win. It's like
But-
going to a casino.
But you know, again, another thing like with summer camp.
But I appreciate that because you have to have ideas to move on with it. That's right.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I know a big thing right now with the school system is STEM. So I don't know if they have any grants that we can, the city or some entity
I'll be
can.
touching on some grants.
Okay, you know, to get, because there was one that was done in Lafayette, and it wasn't funded through any, any funds. The kids had to pay for it, but they had, teachers, certified teachers who came and did fun things in those areas, and that's really our future, to educate our kids in especially those areas where it's really needed, and that would be something to do for the summer. Also, I belonged to a church in Lafayette some years back, and they started a basketball league. The church started a basketball league. So, you're working with the churches. Churches could do something like that. Start a basketball league or baseball league or some kind of league all the sport leagues if they want to, you know, to get the kids at all ages involved. And, you know, that would be something that really feasible to do.
Mhm. I know I spoke already, but I just want to add this, that I absolutely agree with everybody, with all my colleagues, because I need your ideas as well within every respective district. I see our mayor writing a lot of this stuff down, so that's a good sign, that this is not a waste of time. And the other thing is this is one of the times that I wanted to discuss that we're actually having something for the youth in the city park, and it's called A Glitch in the System Part 2. And this will be a concert geared toward teenagers, but it started 10 and above, but it's teenagers. And it's a gospel rap concert. I'm not really into gospel rap, I really gotta say, but I've heard this group and they are slamming. They will turn it up and upside down. But it has an impactful message, a positive message for our youth and the issues that they're facing. There's no profanity, there's none of that, and it's a positive thing. It's going to be on August the 12th of August, and it's from 1 to 4 at the city park. And I'm inviting all the Iberia Parish youth to come out and come be a part of it. And there'll be some Christian counseling if you need it afterwards, if you're struggling with something. So I just want to invite the entire Iberia Parish. I don't want to just bring problems. I want to bring some solutions as well. And it's not just me. I've also partnered with a lot of people to make this happen. So, and I want to thank our mayor as well. And that's all I'm going to say about that.
Great. Dustin?
Once again, save the best for last. Hopefully this is good.
I'm gonna start on
I have a
your
couple
end
of
next.
comments. I have a couple of comments to make. On the so you're targeting the age group of say teenagers, 13 to 18.
Little.
How many programs do we have right now? Off the top of, I really don't know. Like say like the city park in West End that caters to.
0.
No.
I don't think that's we have some. Come
We have swimming.
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Well,
do we have a basketball program?
It's an organized sport, right? But what if you can't afford that, and what if you can't, you know, or whatever the price is set? I'm just trying to get something
I know.
right.
We do have
But in
some,
fairness, we do have some programs.
We
Right.
do have some programs out there. I agree with you. We do have some programs out there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a member of Kiwanis, so we're also a big supporter of Boys and Girls Club.
Mm-hmm.
We just had the Quiz Bowl, which
What are
was-
the ages?
The ages range. I mean, anywhere from anywhere down from say kindergarten, first grade, up to high school. I mean, it's pretty much open to all ages. But the thing that gets me the most is that it's the lack of participation. We have lots of kids out there that are on the street, that are on the corners, and we have the resources available at both West End and both the community centers to do these programs and have them. But we do not have any participation from the kids, and that's why we've seen a lot of it dwindle down and slowly go away. You can somewhat hold some of the parents accountable because they don't, I guess, have an interest of what their children are doing, we should say. But that's, I do agree that, the churches and all those get together and make more activities accessible for the youngsters. But at the same time, we do try hard to get the programs in the park that we're trying to get, and we try hard to get those donations and those people to come forward and help out. I mean, we have the Festival of Live Oaks every year in the park to raise funds to help the parks to do those kind of things, and that's why I'm a big promoter of it. So I don't know if anybody can answer that question of how many programs we have. Maybe that's something we can come up with and see what we have out there. I know they do have some very successful ones out in the parish, like you said, Willowwood and all the other ones.
But within the city, I mean, I've kind of did a little bit of research, but within the city, I mean, when I'm talking 16 to 18 or 19 years old, really.
Did we just start a basketball program?
I mean,
For
Yeah,
some old,
I mean, they got
I
basketball.
can't.
They got basketball programs,
I mean, we
but
have
but
programs.
everybody don't play basketball. I'm just trying to get some type of indemnity or some type of entity to where we as a city, as a council, and as Iberia Parish in a government together, that we're doing something for our youth constantly. I guess is what I'm looking for. Okay.
Which
And-
I agree. I agree with you
you know,
100%.
we need to support them because that's probably where a lot of the issues are coming from.
We need to motivate them to get to those programs and get in there and get those things done. But we need to reach out to them also.
Absolutely.
And grab them in and try and keep them safe.
Yes, sir.
So that's it.
All right, my turn.
Yes,
I made notes of every one of these ideas. I can tell you at my last department head meeting, I asked my department heads to come up with a list because I plan on getting together with every person who has ever come to me since I was running for office and said, I can write a grant and I want those grant fees.
Right,
okay?
I have that in
Well,
my
we
notes.
can't afford to hire a full-time grant writer. So my challenge to all of you, and this is a good beginning of it, okay? If you've got some issues in your districts or in your community or something as worthwhile as all of these items, that's going in my pile for grants, okay? And what my plan is, probably in the month of August, I want to tell the grant writers what we want. You've got to come up with matches. You got to steer people. If we're the leaders, then we're going to lead, okay?
That's right.
So I'm already working on a list for kids. I'm already working on a list for downtown because there seems to be grant money that is available for some of the things. I want a list for the West End. I challenge each one of you, help me put a list together of items that are important to you in your districts. Then I'm gonna weed through them. We're gonna put them on a board. When those grant writers come, it's gonna basically be, here's what you pick from. Here are the items and the areas in each area of our community that I would like to pursue a grant. You pick from those, you write the grant. If you get the grant, you get the fees and we get the benefits. So it would be true partnerships. Well, my plan is to go a little further. My plan is to get our list together. Then, once we have it, I'm gonna type it all up. Y'all are gonna look at it. I'm gonna kind of decide from the beginning, this is the areas I think we should head in, from the input from my department heads, from the input from y'all. That's gonna be phase one. I'll get my grant writers in here, and we'll see if any of them wanna take enough to, because some people call me to write grants, and they're things that I don't think we should head in. People come and they say, I can get a grant for this, or I wrote a grant for that, let me do it. If you let everyone write a grant with no direction, we're gonna get our matches and not head in the area that we wanna head in. So that's step one. We'll see what kind of participation I get. Step two, I'm going to the parish, saying, okay, we got 14 parish council people, we got a parish president, we're all cooperating, working together. Give me a list. Let's see if we can't partner, take those grant writers one step further. Those people are in it for the fees, they're in it for the money, and they wanna write grants. Well, if we start and we're the catalyst, then we go to the parish, we're gonna start seeing some overlap. We're gonna start seeing some things that will force us to do what? Cooperative endeavor agreements and partner. We'll be going after the same grants in some instances. So if we partner on them, we got a better chance of getting them because we're not only affecting 32,000 people in our community, we're now affecting 75,000. We now tell a bigger story and there's an even bigger need. So I'm with you on all of this. I'm heading in that direction. I do think that promoting our programs, getting our programs up and running and promoting them is key. When you've got Boys and Girls Club, a church group, an organized sports group, everybody's going after the same kids. Everybody's looking to do the same thing. Well, you end up with all of these little pots of 10 kids in each pot. You know what? If we put our money together, we combined our forces, and we look for some grant opportunities, we could service all of those kids and turn out a much better, more quality product. But to do that, we all know we're strapped for cash, so we got to get creative. So I'm heading in a direction. This is wonderful. It let me bring up, thank you for putting it on the agenda. I think that we all had great ideas. I'm going to pursue these. This is all going to go in my grant pile for kids. And, you know, let's continue to have these discussions. I know this was the longest meeting we've ever had. We had the shortest meeting we ever had, so now we're paying for it, okay?
Well, I wanted to ask you, you never, I didn't give you a chance to answer. Do you have developers that's interested in coming here that's family oriented?
I'm working on that. I'm taking everybody I can get because we need the jobs, we need the taxes. Retail, we are having some success. We are having some people come to the table who are interested. I think that these kid-oriented activities, you know, like the Sky Zone or this and that, I think when we get and we're heading there, when we start putting this together and we get these kind of lists and we get this information together, then I'm gonna have a product to go and call on them and say, you know, we got 75,000 kids in the parish, we got we got 32,000 people in the city. We'll break it down and figure out how many kids that is. Would you be interested in coming? I have not had any yet, but we're just gonna go after them. Some of these other ones didn't come to us, we went to them. So I think that that is a piece of our puzzle that is missing. I think that this discussion does spur that on, and so I can tell you that that's on my radar, and as we're out and about trying to get jobs, get taxes, get our community back on track, this is gonna be on my priority list, and this was great for my grant writers list. But if you have any other ones in other areas too, send them to me. So I thank y'all all for this discussion. This is truly government at work.
But Mayor,
Yes.
one comment. Our representatives and our senators always said that in Baton Rouge.
Right.
Give it the parish,
Yep.
they'll get together
Right.
for a common cause, and you're
Yeah.
likely to get more money than fighting
You
from
will.
each way.
You will.
And
Why,
it
why
never
compete
happens.
when we combine forces and we show we're 75,000 people, we need to
Yes.
help. That's where we're gonna,
That's right.
that's our power.
Yeah.
Our power is to do this and to go on a bigger scale.
Right.
Awesome, all right. Now we have Councilman remarks. Can we waive Councilman's
Yeah,
remarks?
we'll do that tonight.
Is that okay?
I have a one announcement.
Okay, okay,
Neighborhood Watch meeting is Thursday.
And I got one too.
okay.
At this line.
Yeah, at the slum at
Great,
6 o'clock.
great. And I'll let you use it, no charge.
No
Okay.
charge?
For
You
District
kidding?
4,
Yes.
District 5.
Awesome, Sherry.
Please come out.
Pastor Flugents, I just wanted to send out my condolences to the Flugents family. They're giving Saturday, August the 5th, 2017. Donation is $8. It's going to be held at Anointed Soul Food Restaurant from 10 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. And this is to help Pastor Bradley because, as you know, his wife Christine was sick and she's passed away, and they've exhausted a lot of their financial funds and things like that. So this would benefit them as well. And I'm going to hit the glitch one more time. August the 12th, come out and support Laser Tag. They're going to have $3 laser tag, some food, and fun, games, concerts, and glow parties, you name it. Thank you.
Awesome, any other announcements? Then I will ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Oh, we out of here. Thank you.